54-year-old James Dawkins of Wetumpka. He was last seen Saturday morning. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
When something goes wrong with your home's plumbing, it can throw off the whole house. Luke Wire has taken care of plumbing needs for River Region families for decades with their trusted technicians and 24/7 emergency services. From clogged drains to broken pipes and water heater issues, Luke Wire is there when your family needs them most. Get back to normal, fast. Whatever you require, call Luke Wire. AL license number 22154.
Hi, this is Danny with High Caliber Gun and Pawn. November, we'll be celebrating 10 years of doing business in the River Region, and Blue Water Broadcasting has been an integral part of that 10 years. High Caliber Gun and Pawn, we say we are a step above the rest, and Blue Water Broadcasting definitely is that step.
Did you know that radio is the #1 reach platform in all of media? It's true. Call us to find out how to put radio's #1 reach to work for your business. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
Welcome to Eclectic Coins, Montgomery's largest coin dealer, specializing in buying and selling investment-grade gold and silver coins. And they have a large selection of rare coins and coins from around the world. Visit them at 543 Northeastern Boulevard or on the web at eclecticcoins.com. Eclectic Coins, where collectors who know go.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is a Trump country. We live in the Southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist cook.
Oh, girl, baby girl. Oh, really? Don't even play.
Shut up, silly woman. I'm a better looking person than Kamala.
How you conduct yourself in a democracy.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the program. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Big show today. Of course, we have Mr. Troy Carrico in the studio. How you doing today?
I'm outstanding. Happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday. And an old friend of mine, I think he's also one of the better writers there at 1819, is Alan Mendenhall.
I love Alan Mendenhall.
He's with the Heritage Foundation now. He'll be joining us a little after 1 o'clock. And then United States Senate candidate from Alabama, Morgan Murphy, will join us after 2 p.m., the 2 o'clock hour. And a heck of a fundraising haul for Morgan Murphy. Just dropped this morning, I saw in the news, a little over $1 million in the last quarter of 2025, which is probably, without giving too much away, sending shockwaves throughout all the jockeying behind the scenes. And of course, there are a lot of headlines we can run down into, from Donald Trump threatening Iran and the Iranians. Will they hold on with this uprising? I have no clue, and I don't pretend to know because I looked at X for a few hours. Now, of course, the Greenland, especially the backdoor plan into Greenland, is on the table. Trump calling for a 1-year freeze at 10% on credit card interest rates as the stock market moves a little bit lower on that news. And a few other odds and ends we'll get to. But first, I want to begin with, well, what I was thinking about this weekend. So I thought about the week, what a week it was. And, well, I just went to the weekly readings. And I'll begin here. He will not shout or cry out or raise his voice in the streets. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not snuff out. In faithfulness he will bring forth justice. He will not falter or be discouraged till he establishes justice on earth. In his teaching, the islands will put their hope. Isaiah 42, 2-4. I confess that I have never trusted the crowd, any crowd, but the crowd. Not even one assembled to celebrate and cheer. Sporting events, political rallies, protests, marches, marathons, block parties, rodeos, concerts, and even hootenannies. All leave me ill at ease, a lonely island, even when I shouldn't be. Attending such events, my anxiety tends to bruise me as I begin to imagine all the worst things the crowd can be, and how swiftly ordered liberty can give way to some form or fashion of tyranny. I suppose temperamentally, I still agree with that old cynic George Carlin. You know, he once said, people are wonderful. I love individuals. I hate groups of people. I hate a group of people with a common purpose, because pretty soon they have little hats and armbands and fight songs and a list of people they're going to visit at 3 a.m. So I dislike and despise groups of people, but I love individuals. Every person you look at, you can see the universe in their eyes if you're really looking. Of course, I try not to let my smoldering daydreams of catastrophe show outwardly. I don't want to ruin the party for anyone else. But as I put on my best face to enjoy the world's spectacles with my friends and family in tow, my depressive disposition almost always sows my suspicion that the crowd can transform into something blind, deaf, angry, and proud. An unruly mob all too ready to shout and cry out for havoc in the streets. Yet these days, one need not be in the streets to see what's happening in the streets. One can easily watch behind some small screen in the comfort of one's own home, knowing the global public square could play out on almost any street, anywhere. Any street, anywhere could become a scene for the whole wide world to watch man's fallen nature at play, the good, the bad, and the ugly on real-time, multi-angled virtual display. From Tehran to Minneapolis, any street can become a bloody stage for players and spectators to judge and gauge whether they respond with prayers of peace or frenzied incitement to further outrage. Maybe the mayhem is justified. Maybe it's not. Maybe the havoc must be had when tyrants must be fought. Yet tyranny comes in many forms, many shapes and shades. Who is the oppressor and who is the oppressed isn't always easy to say. After all, how many times have the oppressed become the oppressors when their dog finally has his day? Sometimes tyrants reside in great halls and commission jackbooted men. Sometimes tyrants are no-name rebels with nothing to lose and nothing to win. Sometimes tyrants live in confusion, confounded by doubts that amount to nothing but empty wind. Sometimes tyrants live in certainty, secured with clout, never having to answer for their bootless sins. Maybe tyranny wins when emperors and rebels say it's us or them and convince the crowd there's no third way. Maybe true liberty's humble servant has no need to shout or cry out in the streets for justice to win the day. Perhaps I should have more faith that the crowd may yet repent, that the waters of grace are humbly at work in the midst of the mayhem I so suspiciously resent. Perhaps I should have more hope that a chosen crowd may one day be a light to the nations, a song of service roaring over the seas, giving sight and sound to the blind and deaf and setting the prisoners of tyranny's darkest dungeons free. Perhaps I should have more love for the crowd, seeing each lonely island individually, whether watching mostly peaceful protests or the harsh enforcement of authority. Perhaps I should get out more and see the streets beyond the filter of the small screen, rather than force-feed myself every angle of the global street's latest tragedies. Or maybe I should just put the phone down and pick up the good book instead. I confess I have never trusted the crowd, not even one assembled to celebrate and cheer. That's my cross to bear, as my depressive disposition is all too real. Yet, maybe more than the crowd, the Lord is who I should fear, that I may shake my suspicions and celebrate his victory with hope and good cheer. Welcome into the week. We'll see if anything else plays out on the streets. I hope not American streets. I don't want to see anywhere burn, not even Minneapolis. And then maybe there is a time to rise up, to fight back when you've been oppressed for ages and ages and ages. And I think that is very well the case in Iran, though, as we talked about it last week some, Troy Carrico here in the studio with me. It's a complicated picture because there are going to be folks who are like, I hate the Ayatollahs, but I don't want the Shah back either.
Right.
And there's all the different ethnic groups. And so it's like any time where you want to throw out a tyrant and you're justified in doing so, you should rebel against them. What comes next becomes the question.
You know there's an old saying, right, from I think Grotius, the old Dutch geopolitical guru of the Socrates, if you will, of geopolitics. Grotius said, "Better the devil you know."
Yes.
So you've got a known quantity in Putin. You got a known quantity in the Ayatollah with Kim. All these ne'er-do-wells. So you're right, Joey. What is the change of action? Is it change for the sake of change? Because we have a saying in the military that change offers the illusion of progress. So you got to be careful.
Yes.
Is that why we're doing it, or is it because of something more?
But it is quite something to see mosques
It's unbelievable.
on fire.
Listen, they. So I was talking to a gentleman that was in Iran for 4 years working for an oil company. He's a Canadian. He told me that most of the mosques that are in the central districts in the middle of Iran, which are the biggest provinces, 10% of them are open. The rest of them are closed. They're not very devout in their Shia worship. You have a small tyranny, as you just talked about,
yes,
and a theocracy,
yes,
that's controlling this country.
And they have a thing called the Guardian Council, which it does. If you look at their constitution, it is like a republic.
Oh, it definitely is.
But laid over that Republican that constitutional Republican structure is the Guardian Council and the clerics and the Ayatollah on top of that. And the Guardian Council often will pick and choose who actually gets to be nominees.
They're the kingmakers.
So, and they'll let some folks who, will disagree with them through, but not the true firebrands.
No, not those. And what's funny is the Republic Guardian Council is a precursor to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, which keeps the military in check. They get the best equipment, they get the best gear, they get the best pay, they control the illegal cigarettes and black market stuff going on in the country. So it's kind of a sham, and I think people are tired of it. I'm sure of it.
And then moving to the other bloody stage, the streets here in America. I don't know if you saw the Trump administration came out with a full-on list of, who exactly were they going after in Minnesota?
Yeah, I saw that.
Now, there are examples that you can find on tape where I'm like, I wish an ICE officer hadn't have done that. Like there was one guy who, Mexican heritage, but he is an American citizen. Yeah. He's 17. And he started mouthing off a Target employee at one, and the guy finally said, "Well, come here.
Yeah,
come here." And they detained him. And then when he was shown he's an American citizen, they let him go, but they let him go like 8 minutes away in some Walmart parking lot away from where his car and work was at Target. And it's like, I don't love seeing that sort of stuff because it's just like, I'm not surprised by it. You mess with somebody, they might come back at you, but it's also like, it's a bad look, especially on camera. But then there are a lot of examples. If you look at what the Trump administration was actually going after.
Yeah.
And ICE provided a list. Bill Maloogian, I guess is his name. He works for Fox. It's of the most egregious criminal aliens they've arrested during their surge in the sanctuary state of Minnesota. Yep. And Maloogian says it's the most disturbing list I've ever seen, including numerous, convicted child rapists, sodomizers, and 10 convicted killers, most with deportation orders going back many years, several from Laos, Somalia, and Sudan. There's a Laotian illegal alien convicted of strong-arm sodomy of a boy and a girl. He's had a deportation order since 2018.
2018.
Another Laotian illegal alien convicted of sexual assault and sodomy and procuring a child for prostitution. Deportation order going all the way back to 2006.
Man.
Another Laotian illegal convicted of rape of a 12-year-old girl and kidnapping a child with intent to do the worst. Had a deportation order since 2004, and I've only just started on the list, folks. And so I can have a heart. I can think of the person who's maybe born here or not even born here, brought here when they're 2. And they go to school here and all the, that worst case scenario, what country they got to go back to?
Right.
Fine. But when you do these sanctuary policies and you demonize the folks trying to arrest people who are here illegally, why are you putting up a shield for these monsters? Why are you protecting these monsters who are here illegally, and that's a crime enough, but who are doing some of the worst stuff that they should get the death penalty for?
these, you know the answer to that, Joey. There's a cabal, an insurgency inside our country that wants to see the degradation of Western Christendom and our republic. And this is useful idiots. These are the useful foot soldiers for them. And they brought them in, they paid for them, and they're protecting them. So let's talk about something. When you said something, you said refuge, these refuge cities and these sanctuary cities. I'm sorry, but it's a refuge for them.
Yes.
And excuse me, did we not fight the most bloody crucible in the history of this country in 1861 to 1865 to establish federalism is dominant over state rights? I don't want to hear anything out of these Yankees about their city being overrun when they were down here burning our cities. And I'm saying, welcome to the world that you have created, Abraham Lincoln and the rest of that crew, when they ushered in this tyranny of Washington, D.C. over us.
Yeah,
and,
we went over the other day the recent history of when presidents have invoked the Insurrection Act. And a lot of it is early civil rights history here in Alabama and Arkansas. Then you start to see like the LA riots. There are weird ones like in the 80s with the prison riots, the Cuban.
Remember that? Yeah.
What is it, the Mario boat lift?
The Mario boat lift.
Yeah. And it's interesting to see now that, oh, wait, this power of the federal government is, to your point, going to turn back on some of these folks. I find it just astounding that it's this sort of list of people and many more. I stopped because I got tired of saying certain words. I'll put it that way. And imagining certain depraved, evil behaviors. But like, why can't there be a frickin' agreement on basic common sense that these folks shouldn't be here? Why are you protecting them?
One is left with the inductive logic to say that if this is so, then this must be the case, that they want them here and they're willing to overlook their crimes in order to serve their own selfish needs in this country.
Statement from ICE Director Todd Lyons. Regardless of staged political theatrics, ICE is going to continue to arrest the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens in Minnesota and elsewhere. Some of these criminal aliens had final orders of removal for 30 years, but they've been free to terrorize Minnesotans. ICE's arrest prevent recidivism and make communities safer, but it feels like local politicians want to ignore that part and drum up discontent rather than protect their own constituents. Yep. And that's where it's, there is a time and a place to protest, obviously. And you can go out there, and if you don't like what ICE is doing, you can protest them, but don't block the road. Don't ram them with your car.
Don't bring your 6-year-old child with you without a booster seat.
Don't try to fight them. Don't try to take their weapon. Like, these sorts of things are just common sense. And you're right about the using babies.
I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you willing to let your child be on fire, the way of fire for your cause?
Unhinged behavior.
Yeah, it's unhinged.
And, we have a story. We could go into the details of, yes, in fact, there's more and more evidence that liberal women are crap crazy.
They are definitely.
A certain cohort, at least. And we could get into the further details in that regard. But Kristi Noem held her own against Fake Tapper, I suppose.
Yeah, I saw that.
And this issue is not going away, but the theatrics of it and looking at it on our small screens on X or wherever we're watching, that's the part that makes me go, what about the folks behind the scenes, in the shadows, funding all this, encouraging this behavior, and what they're hoping for is somebody dies like Nicole Goode. So they can then incite more and more action instead of actually winning a frickin' argument and then winning at the ballot box.
There's no debate. You know that.
Anyway, 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Again, looking forward to talking to Alan Mendenhall after 1 o'clock.
Yep.
Morgan Murphy in the 2 o'clock hour. Troy Carrico here has an op-ed he wants to get to, which it's about veterans, you said?
It's a review of the abysmal year of 2025 under
here in the state of Alabama.
In the state of Alabama with the VA. Yep.
Yeah, and the session, I guess, is starting this week.
Tomorrow.
The new one.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be down at the State House Wednesday morning with my long locks and looking like a hippie over there.
You might want to make sure you've got access to an exit door at some point, maybe.
Why? Okay, well,
I just heard.
I ain't worried about
I
nothing.
think we discussed it on Friday.
but
we'll
I
see.
ain't worried
We'll
about
see.
it. I ain't worried about nothing.
I've done nothing wrong.
I'm not worried about any of that. The other people might need to be worried. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see.
Rumor and innuendo. Let's keep it on the back burner.
We call it, there's types of intelligence in the world.
Right.
There's human intelligence, signals intelligence, and we have rumor, which is rumor intelligence.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And sometimes they're true.
It's very much true.
But hey, this part of the program for you at this break brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health.
Yeah.
And at Montgomery Men's Health, they're ready to help you fellas out, especially if you're worried about issues with ED or low T. If you have those issues, your relationships, your confidence, even your career can be affected. And a lot of online companies promise convenience and discretion, but their treatments are often generic and some even unsafe.
Yep.
So, gentlemen, no more excuses. Montgomery Men's Health has a urologist and the providers that solely focus on ED and low T, and they do it the right way. No unproven snake oil or peptides without solid research. They've been helping men reclaim their confidence with safe, effective treatments since 2022. And actually, they have treatments. Maybe you're not
that day
quite falling off. They have them that day, but also they have them. Maybe you're just looking to maintain. Like you're doing all right, but you don't want to fall off at all. You don't even go there with lower T or any ED problems. Yep. So they have stuff that can help you maintain and keep low T and ED at bay without a pill. If you're starting to notice things get shaky, don't wait. They can only get worse if you ignore it. So don't procrastinate, gentlemen. Turn your tomorrows into today. Show up in your family and your life like never before here in 2026. Call up Montgomery Men's Health at 440-3663. That's 440-3663, or book online in under 30 seconds at montgomerymenshealth.com. Montgomery Men's Health, for every man in every season of life.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
When it's time to replace an old window or door, you want expert craftsmanship and proven experience. You want Davis Door & Sash. Right now, take advantage of our limited time promotion. 10% off materials on new energy-efficient doors and windows. Voted best in the River region for windows and installation in 2024 and 25. Davis Door & Sash would love to work for you. Call 334-288-6010 or visit davisdoorandsashalabama.com. Davis Door & Sash, the perfect fit for your home.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For years, I've been asking you to call me at Alabama Home Mortgage because there is a difference in mortgage companies. When you call Alabama Home Mortgage, you will immediately see the difference in pricing. Not only do we offer the most competitive rates, but our closing costs rank among the lowest in the industry. How do we do it? Because we can. We do not have the overhead that big banks and lenders do. Those big banks and lenders have big expenses. And what do? They pass those expenses along to you. Meanwhile, here at Alabama Home Mortgage, we receive wholesale rates which result in big savings that we pass along to you. Don't pay more for less. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Our rates and pricing are just one difference that sets us apart from the rest. It's not just a slogan. Call Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
This is your roving reporter. Today I'm talking with a prospector.
That's right, man. I'm prospecting for gold. You dig?
No, but it looks like you do.
And you know the first thing I'm going to do when I strike it rich?
What's that?
I'm going to hire David Ernest to be my money man.
You mean everyone's favorite asset preservationist?
That is correct, man. I'm going to call him up at 833-596-7233. 833-596-SAFE.
You know, I've heard a lot of good things about David Ernest.
You know, he's the best money man around with over 40 years of experience.
Experience is necessary, especially when you're digging for gold.
That's right, man.
And I can see that you don't have very much experience.
What do you mean, man?
Well, you have the little plastic bucket and shovel like a kid would take to the beach.
Yeah, man. Well, I want to start out small and then kind of pace myself up until I strike it rich.
Well, maybe you should call David Ernest first.
You think he's got a shovel?
Never know till you ask.
I dig, man.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by Clark Heating, Air, and Plumbing. It's time to schedule your spring tune-up with Clark Heating, Air, and Plumbing. Don't wait. Schedule today. Give them a call at 334-277-2125. Alabama certification number 88007.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. Cold weather fans. This is a forecast you're going to love. Today, mostly sunny, but the high temperature only up to about 51. And tonight will be a colder night with the overnight low temperature down to about 26 by dawn tomorrow morning. Tuesday's high temperature up to about 56 with lots of sunshine, and then 28 again on Tuesday night. We may tease 60 degrees on Wednesday before another shot of Arctic air arrives. Thursday will be bitterly cold. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More has the best prices. Carpet as low as 69 cents per square foot. LVP starting at $1.29 a square foot. Sheet vinyl as low as 65 cents per square foot. And the lowest prices on flooring installation supplies. Budget Floors and More across from Delray to Publix.
Live local talk. The River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Troy Carrico here in the studio with me. And let's go right to the phones and talk to Papa B at 272-9228. Hey, Papa B, how you doing?
Hey, Joey. Troy.
Hey.
You know, I love it when you have Troy on. He just brings a lot of he brings a lot of food to the table. You know it.
I agree.
Are you talking about piss and vinegar?
That too.
All right.
You know, I was listening to the account of one person that was there when the raid took place in Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, presumably it was one of, Maduro's bodyguards or something.
Well, I know exactly what you're talking about, but lay it out.
Yeah.
I mean, just unbelievable. He said that something like 20 men wiped out 400 men in just a matter of minutes. They used some sort of a sonic weapon to disable them.
The Havana syndrome. You've heard of Havana syndrome? They turned that on him. They turned that on him. It was a microwave they used. It's a disruptor microwave they use. Yeah.
Vomiting, incapacitated.
Yep.
Killed them, and I mean the whole Central and South America is rocked by this. It is just sending shock waves through all of Central and South America. I mean, I'm sure the world too.
They're wearing their brown pants in Latin America for sure.
Yeah.
So I spoke to a fellow that was actually there, and without too many details, they sent in 2 platoons of Rangers to secure the compound for Delta Team to come in, and there alone there was over 50 to 60 people killed immediately by them without taking a single casualty, a couple minor superficial wounds. But you're right, what you have here is basically a battalion, if you will, Joey, of troops, and supposedly the best troops they had, the Cuban Special Forces guys, which if you look at their background, Joey, they were mostly border customs guys from there, but they must have been loyal and corrupt. But my point is this. It was a joint effort at many levels. But what is more interesting, Papa B, is if you go onto Russian military blog sites, Joey, they are losing their crap right now going, where's the S-300s? Where's the Panzer IIs? We fried them, brother. We fried them. They were done.
Well, and then the guy, the bodyguard you're also talking about, Papa B, described the drones in the air. And just, I think a month ago, Palmer Luckey was on with Joe Rogan, and he was showing like this essentially heads-up display helmet that folks in special forces can use. And I'm sure what he had in there is just, a fun thing to display to the public. But essentially everything these folks are looking at, and you can see through walls, you can map everything real time. The drones are also seeing. So essentially you can the coordination is unreal. It's how you're shooting around corners. It's how are people getting the look on us? It's like, you're dealing with new toys. And I think I was saying this months ago as the build-up to Venezuela happened, I'm like, it seems to be they got some new toys they want to use.
It's a laboratory. It's the best laboratory of all, brother. Yep.
Looks like it. Now, this makes me wonder if the seditious six were talking about this very raid. Were they trying to prevent something like this from actually happening? Because I want to tell you something. I believe Maduro is a songbird, and I think he's going to spill the beans on everybody. I don't know why I feel that way. I just think that there's something to it there. He certainly has the goods on some folks. There probably was a lot of intelligence that was gathered when they captured him, along with just him and his wife. And I think we're going to find some things out that, there are a lot of folks just really don't want us to know. What do you think about that, Troy?
It's possible. Here's what I think. I think he gives us good intel on the BRICS organization and how things are going strategically. I think he gives us good intel on how far the Chinese have infiltrated into that area, along with Hezbollah and Palestinian Islamic Jihad with the Musk. I think he gives us real time confirmation, but I'm not sure he was a useful pawn. He was a useful idiot, as Sun Tzu would say, to the BRICS organization and Putin, but it backfired on him. And, here's the other thing, too, that you mentioned. You just brought something up, and I wanted to comment on it. I think that what you got to remember here is this is a shaping operation. I know it may seem like it's, wow, that was incredible. This is what we do. And the people that you're referring to, the seditious six, the people that they're telling about the unlawful orders ain't going to be in that group of people that went into that compound. They're there to kick some ass-kicking violence. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard so much, and you don't know, really, sometimes you just don't know what to believe, because you hear so much. There's a lot of misinformation and disinformation that goes back and forth on both sides, from both sides.
Yep.
But over and over again, I've heard that, Venezuela was involved in the American election.
Yep.
From China and other players, I got this, real suspicion that there's some Democrats that have been playing footsie with the cartel.
Probably.
And, we're going to try to maybe discover, let's just say if there is something there, reveal it at the proper time.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, FAFO, brothers.
Yep. There you go.
International and domestic.
Good call.
Appreciate it, Papa B.
All right, talk to you later.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, no, and it's, I think your camera's screwed up. We'll have to fix it in the next break. But, it does put a lot of people on notice that the folks running the United States right now are not playing and will use force, and also not get sucked into some quagmire, or at least not willingly.
Right.
And, Trump meeting with all the oil executives, it's pretty for all the conspiracies over the years, it's about the oil. It's like oil we got plenty of oil here.
That's not the issue. Yeah.
But oil is a great attack vector.
It is. Yes. It is one of the ultimate leverage items in the world. If you think about China, for instance, 55% of their domestic oil needs have to be imported to their country. That's akin to Japan's during World War II.
And they're getting most of it from Russia.
That's right.
But they were getting a little bit, about 4.5%.
They're getting 4.5%
from Venezuela, and then a good bit from Iran.
But what we also get is leverage with India and Brazil, a lot off this oil too. So something to think about. It's not just China and Russia. It's other quasi factors that might be force multipliers for us down the road.
Again, 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. Buy Greenland, take it. Why? An old pack already gives Trump a free hand. This is from the New York Times.
Okay. All right.
Analysts say the Cold War agreement allows the president to increase the American military presence almost at will.
It does.
Trump has ridiculed Denmark's dog sled teams in Greenland. He has cited mysterious Chinese and Russian ships prowling off the coast. He seems increasingly fixated on the idea that the United States should take over the gigantic icebound island, with one official saying the president wants to buy it, and another suggesting the United States could simply take it. Just a few days ago, Mr. Trump said, "We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security." Yeah. But the question is, does the United States even need to buy Greenland or do something more drastic to accomplish all of his goals? Under a little-known Cold War agreement, the United States already enjoys sweeping military access in Greenland. Right now, the United States has one base in a very remote corner of the island.
Yes, we do.
But the agreement allows it to, quote, construct, install, maintain, and operate military bases across Greenland, house personnel, and control landings, takeoffs, anchorages, moorings, movements, and operations of ships, aircraft, and waterborne craft. It was signed in 1951 by the United States and Denmark, which colonized Greenland more than 300 years ago and still controls some of its affairs. The U.S. has such a free hand in Greenland that it can pretty much do what it wants, said Mikkel Olsen, a researcher at the Danish Institute for International Studies in Copenhagen. I have a very hard time seeing that the U.S. couldn't get pretty much everything it wanted, he said, adding, if it just asked nicely. But buying Greenland, something that Secretary of State Marco Rubio told lawmakers on Tuesday was Mr. Trump's latest plan, is a different question. Greenland does not want to be bought by anyone, especially not the United States, and Denmark does not have the authority to sell it. It is impossible. Well, it could be that Trump gives money directly to the people living there.
Possible. $100,000 he floated.
Yeah, we'll guarantee y'all a great quality of living, and we'll invest and we'll help out in so many different ways. We'll see. But just from that Cold War agreement, what are we even arguing about?
Really, there's nothing to debate. It's if we want it, it's ours.
Right.
I mean, like Joey, this president, if Machiavelli right now is setting up going, finally, someone's listening to me. He knows what he has. I believe this administration with Marco and the entire team there, he got this one right because he has people that really understand what the dynamics of the situation are. And that's right here. So,
well, and for all the Europeans, especially if you look at the European press, they are obnoxious in their snootiness and always have been. But especially in relation to Trump, they're just, oh my God.
Euro trash.
Y'all are so bad. But here was a surprising clip from, of all places, the BBC. It's the British Broadcasting Company. Get your mind out of the gutter. This is the former ambassador, Peter Mandelson, talking to the BBC, and he's asked about, what do you think of Trump from your time serving as the ambassador to the United States? What do you think of this fella? Let's listen in.
I found him. Did I like him? Yes, I liked his humor, his graciousness.
Graciousness? That's not a word that many people might associate with Donald Trump.
No, I know it isn't. I know it isn't because he has for many people, he has a completely different image. I liked his directness. Mm-hmm. He knew exactly what he was thinking and where you stood and what he wanted and how he was proposing to engage with you. Did I like all his language? No, I didn't. Did he make me gasp sometimes in some of the things he said? Of course. But at the end of the day, President Trump is an extraordinary risk taker. And for me, in the world today, given all its conflicts and its dangers, and how I would define leadership of a country, I attach a lot of importance to somebody's preparedness to take risks, and he does, for good reasons, in pursuit of good objectives.
Wow. And that's crazy coming from a British diplomat.
Absolutely. But he says, he goes, I know that's not what people usually say about him. Well, guess what? The people that are saying things about him have never really dealt with it.
They don't know him.
They don't know me.
They don't want to know
me.
him.
You don't know me.
Or maybe they do know him, but they're like, well, I can't reveal. I got to always be against him. Or when he's, being charming or ingratiating or all these other things, it's like, stop it, you evil man. I know what you're doing. Stop dazzling me with your bright blue eyes. Stop it. Stop hypnotizing me.
Then sometimes he goes, I'm like that. I'm like that.
Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, Joey. I just want to say Donald Trump is a risk taker.
Yep.
But the side of risk always has two sides of a coin. To not take action, there's a risk on that side too.
Yeah, there is.
And that's why Donald Trump's a leader, unlike that that guy that's in charge of the police in Oregon that wanted to come out and cry, and because he's demoralizing his whole rank in that state police or whatever he's in charge of, is coming out there crying and wiping his eyes over 2 people getting shot when there's murders all over the place. But a real leader like Donald Trump, there is risk on both sides. And if you don't take over these areas, that's what Donald Trump's saying. Because if we don't get it, the other ones have it. And what do you think's going to happen then? Right. Feel me, brother?
Yep. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, there's an old saying, fortune favors the bold.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, John F. Kennedy in his Profiles in Courage said something that resounded with me as a young man when I went through Boy Scouts. And I remember I did a paper on this one. It was the hottest places in hell are reserved for people who sit on the fence in the midst of crisis. So interesting thought.
It's close to not quite as bad as the traitors, Judas and Brutus and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yes, the folks who operate in pure bad faith, there are no authentic feelings or authentic actions at all. And those people, in some ways, maybe grease skids. I'm sure in certain operations you find yourself in, those people can be useful.
Useful idiots.
Right, but we'll see. It's kind of what's an Animal Farm. It's Benjamin the donkey.
The donkey.
You never seen a dead donkey before, have you?
We know which side to be.
Because he knew how to read and he knew what the pigs are up to, but I ain't saying it. You never seen a dead donkey before.
I'm just going to go about my business.
Now, speaking of taking risk, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, too late, Jerome, on Sunday accused Donald Trump of trying to, quote unquote, manipulate the Federal Reserve through a criminal perjury investigation. Republican Florida Senator Anna Paulina Luna referred Powell to the Justice Department in July, alleging he lied to the Senate Banking Committee about renovations to the Federal Reserve's Washington headquarters in June. Powell confirmed the probe in a blistering video statement released Sunday night. I have deep respect for the rule of law and for accountability in our democracy. No one, certainly not the chair of the Federal Reserve, is above the law. But there's that big hairy but always right around the corner. But this unprecedented action should be seen in the broader context of the administration's threats and ongoing pressure, Powell claimed. This new threat is not about my testimony last June or about the renovation of the Federal Reserve buildings. It is not about Congress's oversight role. The Fed, through testimony and other public disclosures, made every effort to keep Congress informed about the renovation project. Those are pretexts. The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public rather than following the preferences of the president, Powell continued. This is about whether the Fed will be able to continue to set interest rates based on evidence and economic conditions, or whether instead monetary policy will be directed by political pressure or intimidation. Of course, Trump and Powell have clashed over the Fed's resistance to lowering interest rates at a pace desired by the president. Powell also came under fire for his handling of inflation during the Biden administration, initially predicting inflation would be transitory during an August 2021 speech at Jackson Hole, Wyoming, before later admitting inflation ended up being more persistent than he, quote unquote, expected. Trump questioned Powell over the renovations during a July 24th tour of the Federal Reserve headquarters. You remember that one where he big boyed him all up and down
I do
touring
remember.
that facility?
I do remember.
With Republican South Carolina Senator Tim Scott.
Yep.
Presenting Powell with documents supposedly showing the cost for the project had ballooned to $3.1 billion, a cost overrun of roughly 25%. So Powell's term as Fed chair concludes May of this year, May 2026. He will remain a Fed governor through January of 2028. And in reaction to all this, now Tom Tillis, who's just been mad at Trump anyway, as Republican senator from North Carolina, Tillis is now saying, I will block any of your Fed picks. Who you want to replace, Powell? He says he will block any of Trump's candidates for the Federal Reserve following news of the Justice Department's criminal investigation into Fed Chair Jerome Powell for lying to Congress. Tillis's new stance could throw a monkey wrench into the approval for any of Trump's picks to lead the Fed or replace potential retirees. The Senate Banking Committee, which is 13 Republicans, including Tillis, plus 11 Democrats, must approve all central bank nominees. If there were any remaining doubt whether advisors within the Trump administration are actively pushing to end the independence of the Federal Reserve, there should now be none. It is now the independence and credibility of the Department of Justice that are in question. Wait, so anybody can just lie to Congress now? Is that the deal? Is like these independent agencies, they're independent of any investigation?
They're charlatans.
And the only time an investigation's open is at the behest of people to go after them. Right.
Of course.
This is the, maybe this is the world.
Standard line.
I will oppose the confirmation of any nominee for the Fed, including the upcoming Fed chair vacancy, until this legal matter is fully resolved, added Tillis, who's, by the way, retiring after his term.
Of course.
So we'll see. I wonder how long Tillis will remain strong, or honestly where this probe will go, because they could very well look into it and go, no, he's probably fine on a technicality. Anyway, got to hit a quick break here. Hopefully have Austin Bernanke with Invista Advisors on the other side.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, ride for free. E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, E-Bike Oasis, ride for free.
At E-Bike Oasis, we're more than just Montgomery's best electric bicycle store. E-Bike Oasis offers free 1-hour electrical bicycle rentals and a full-service electric bike repair shop. Stop by E-Bike Oasis in Montgomery today for free rentals, repairs, and electric bicycle brands in town.
Hi, folks. This is Rick Clark with Clark Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing. I'd like to take just a minute to talk to you about our experience with Blue Water Broadcasting. One of the hot topics in our staff meetings is spending advertising dollars. If your company or firm is anything like Clark Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, those dollars are limited, so you have to spend them wisely. That's why we choose Blue Water Broadcasting. Our marketing analysis has proven consistently that spending advertising dollars with Blue Water Broadcasting has contributed significantly to our bottom line. And for that, Clark Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing is truly grateful. So, if you want to spend your advertising dollars wisely, choose Blue Water Broadcasting and see the difference.
Our advertisers are our biggest advocates. Call us to find out how radio can increase your bottom line. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
On FM, on your smartphone, and online, the River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
To the phones and talk to Austin Bernanke with Invista Advisors. Hey, Austin, how you doing today?
Oh, having a great Monday, Joey. How are y'all?
Oh, we're doing all right. We just went over this tit for tat going on with the chairman of the Federal Reserve. I guess it was Anna Paulina Luna who first filed a referral that he lied to Congress or something about this building the Federal Reserve's been building. And it's not just Powell, but Senator Tillis and many other folks in the financial world are reacting to this news. What's your take?
Yeah, my take is I think this is kind of a pissing match, excuse my language, between the president and Jerome, because the Fed is supposed to be an apolitical entity. It is, I guess, kind of one of the few areas that Trump can't assert his dominance over. And so because throughout his tenure, he has not been able to bully Jerome into doing his bidding, he is trying to use whatever tools are at his disposal to maybe tarnish Powell's, I don't want to say reputation, but legacy is probably a better term. And so when you think about this at a very high level, I really just think it is Trump being frustrated and trying to ruin the legacy of a Fed chair who, in my opinion, made some mistakes and did, untimely rate cuts or hikes throughout his period that were, in hindsight, looked pretty political.
Yep.
And as we know, they should be apolitical. But I think, generally speaking, Jerome Powell has done a decent job of what we would describe as a soft landing coming through a post-COVID era. And I don't think, at least in my opinion, I'm a conservative Republican, I do not think that attacking him in this way with a criminal indictment threat is the right way to end Jerome's tenure as Fed chair. And so we'll see what comes of it. I don't think this has any major impact in markets.
Okay.
I do think that Powell coming out publicly and stating this is really, once again, just kind of a bullying match back and forth. Powell's one of the few people that has never stood down to Trump, and Trump hates that. Trump wants everybody to bend the knee, and if you don't bend the knee, he's coming after you.
I think that is a spot-on analysis there. And before I let you go, tell folks who haven't heard us before here on these airwaves about Invista Advisors and what y'all can do for people.
Yeah, so we are a registered investment advisory handling everything in the realm of finance, but it always starts with a plan. So, whether you're looking to put a kid through college or take care of an aging parent or buy or sell a business or get yourself insurance, whatever it is, in the world of finance, if you need a professional to look over your shoulder and build you a plan and then help you execute that plan, we are the group for you.
Folks, check them out. You can always learn more yourself at InvistaAdvisors.com or just start the conversation at 387-0094. And when you call them at 387-0094, be sure to say, hey, I heard Austin Bernanke on the radio, Joey Clark. Want to see what y'all can do for me.
Awesome, Joey. Thank you so much, and you have a great week.
Appreciate you, Austin. Again, that's Austin Bernanke with Invista Advisors.
The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. The opinions expressed in this material do not necessarily reflect the views of LPL Financial. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice is offered through Invista Advisors, registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.
So we got a few minutes here before we hit the top of the hour break and bring on Alan Mendenhall. And let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this? No, stop it, man. Stop it. Line 1, who's this?
Hey, Joey, it's Ray.
Hey, Ray.
Hey, I'm calling today as the chair of the private library.
Okay.
Can I make a quick announcement?
Of course.
Okay. The library will be closed starting Thursday for the repairs on the building for at least 3 weeks, maybe 4. We are very sorry for any inconvenience, but nobody's going to be allowed on the property while the repairs are going on, so you can't even drop off your late books at the book bin. There are several places in town that we have for you to drop them off, but if it is what it is, if you hold on to them until we open up, we'll waive the fine.
Okay.
And, until we get everything back to normal. Okay?
But much needed renovations, right?
Yeah, the building's going to fall in. We got to do it.
Yep. Okay. Well, I appreciate you letting the folks know, and I guess I'll call you about 2 hours from now.
About 2 hours. Sounds good.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
guys.
Always great hearing Ray Bowles on these airwaves and his
official capacity.
Different
His official capacity.
yes.
I like it too.
So coming up, we have Alan Mendenhall. He and a group of smart fellas. He's now working with Heritage Foundation, but they came up with a new strategy of how folks who are stockholders, who are shareholders, can, bring some companies to heel in the sense of certain companies make certain deals or associations with, say, the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Sure.
And perhaps your company shouldn't be relying on the SPLC for quality information, giving how they behave and have behaved over the years. And so we're going to get into that and much, much more. Look forward to bringing on Alan Mendenhall after the break.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. President Trump says Iran wants to negotiate with the U.S. after his threat to strike the country over its crackdown on demonstrators. Those demonstrations have gotten so large that the country there is threatening to crack down, even threatening death against anybody who calls for the overthrow of the regime. Many observers believe the demonstrations are powerful enough they could, in fact, topple the current Islamic Republic. Thousands of nurses have gone on strike at several major New York City hospitals today. The New York mayor, Zohran Mamdani, joined the protesters by picketing nurses and backing their demands. A union says about 15,000 nurses are taking part in the strike. Among their demands, more manageable workloads. Hospitals say the union's demands are simply too costly. On Wall Street, all the major indexes now in positive territory. The Dow is up 10 points. The NASDAQ up 100. This is SRN News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-893-2288. That's 800-893-2288.
My name is Whitney Allen. I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage, no medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions
The
are required.
Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Montgomery Paint and Body. From little fender benders to total body repair, MPB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For 4 decades, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
Rich Thomas weather.
Well, hi, everybody. Cold weather fans. This is a forecast you're going to love. Today, mostly sunny with a high temperature only up to about 51. And tonight will be a colder night with the overnight low temperature down to about 26 by dawn tomorrow morning. Tuesday's high temperature up to about 56 with lots of sunshine. And then 28 again on Tuesday night. We may tease 60 degrees on Wednesday before another shot of Arctic air arrives. Thursday will be bitterly cold. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Whether you're buying a home or auto or consolidating debt, CB&S Bank's personal loans get you where you need to go. Go to cbsbank.com to find a location near you. Apply online today. All loans subject to credit approval. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, here's today's top stories. The first of 3 area Piggly Wiggly Food for Less stores is preparing to open in Wetumpka. The store on Highway 231 will open at 7 a.m. tomorrow on January 13th. 2 other former Winn-Dixie locations in Montgomery are also scheduled to become Piggly Wiggly stores. Those locations are on Vaughn Road and Mobile Highway. Montgomery police continue to investigate a weekend shooting that left 2 people injured. MPD responded to the 4100 block of Rosa Parks Avenue, where a man was shot several times and transported to the ER in critical condition. Moments later, a woman arrived at the same ER with gunshot wounds, a victim of the same shooting. A suspect has been arrested. No names, however, have been released. Authorities continue to search for a missing boater in Otaga County. 54-year-old James Dawkins of Wetumpka has been missing since early Saturday morning. Dawkins was last seen launching a 12-foot John boat near Shelton Landing on the Alabama River. No contact has been made with Dawkins since. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Clark.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Joey Clark. And we're trying to push through some technical difficulties here, but let's see if this gentleman, at least he can hear me. Alan Mendenhall with the Heritage Foundation. Alan, how are you, sir?
Hey, Joey. Sorry, that's my fault on the technical issue.
Oh, all good, all good. And well, first off, just how's the day going? You survived the new year so far?
Yeah. In fact, I just got off of station in Georgia, actually. But yeah, New Year's is going great. It's been a good January and been going back and forth to DC a lot.
Now, I want to jump right into it on how shareholders can hold companies accountable. In particular, there's been a great success with holding folks accountable who are using the Southern Poverty Law Center as a source of information. Without me characterizing it too much, could you lay out the idea to folks?
Yeah, sure. So as you can imagine, the Heritage Foundation has a pretty large and diverse investment portfolio. We have over $100 million annual operating budget. So we have a lot of assets. And we own lots of companies. So what we decided to do a couple of years ago, before I got there, I joined in May, is to start using our portfolio to push companies back to neutral. So as everybody knows, corporate America has gone pretty woke and moved far to the left and adopted a lot of progressive policies. Perfect examples are, Anheuser-Busch, Target, Cracker Barrel, those kinds of things. But what we're trying to do is use the companies that we own shares of to push them back in the right direction, in a positive direction. We're not trying to do in reverse what the left does and make corporations into some corporate vehicles, conservative vehicles. We're trying to actually make them be neutral. So we focused on several companies. Last year, we filed 4 shareholder resolutions. This year, we filed 25. And some of them deal with the Southern Poverty Law Center. So after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, it came to light that the Southern Poverty Law Center had recently put TPUSA on its hate map. And so that gave us the unfortunate occasion to address companies that are using the Southern Poverty Law Center's diagnostic tools, including its hate map. So that includes Alphabet, Amazon, MasterCard, Meta, PayPal, Salesforce, and Starbucks. We filed shareholder resolutions with each of them. Salesforce pretty immediately said, hey, we want to work with you guys. We don't want to be using SPLC stuff. And in fact, we did a little research and we don't think we're using it at all. And we said, but you are, because you're using a platform called Benevity to handle your charitable giving. So, for example, if an employee wants to give to a 501c3 that is on the SPLC's hate map, let's say it's Alliance Defending Freedom or Turning Point USA, then there would be no employee matching because Benevity would screen out those companies. Once Salesforce realized that it was using the SPLC diagnostic tools in that way, it said, well, we don't want to do that. We commit to not using it. And so we withdrew our proposal. It didn't have to go on the proxy ballot. It didn't have to go up to a vote for the other shareholders. They just immediately stopped using it. And we're seeing most companies react in that way to most of our shareholder proposals.
How do you thinking about it, the SPLC got embedded in this way with so many companies, and I believe also even like the FBI was using them, because for years it's been to me like they did their best work, if they did great work 30, 40 years ago in civil rights and, maybe helping folks stuck in jail who can't pay a fine or a fee. And it's become, using that good reputation, a smear campaign operation against a lot of good conservative people.
Yeah, I mean, I think the SPLC realized a long time ago what we call the long march through the institutions would be what they needed to do to encode or embed elite preferences in the system, so to speak, to get it embedded into the administrative state, get it embedded into law enforcement, get it embedded into military, get it embedded into corporate America, get it embedded into the media. All these elite legacy institutions, if they could capture those, then it would be trickle down ideology, and they could coerce people into believing that they were bad people because I don't believe in whatever doctrine it is that contradicts, I don't know, some kind of basic Christian teaching, whether it's same-sex marriage or something else.
Right.
And it was a way to stigmatize people and to control them in a form of social engineering. And so, corporations are pretty docile when it comes to these types of things. They really didn't want to be doing a lot of this stuff, but they felt as though the left was putting all this pressure on them and that they were going to get boycotted, or their reputational risk would suffer if they didn't sort of kowtow to the left. But that's partially because there was nobody on the right doing this. The left figured this out a long, long time ago and successfully started turning corporate America. And it's only been in like the last 5 years that conservatives have realized that this is a tool in their bag, mainly because for most conservatives, their view of business is that companies should do what their core businesses do, which is add value to society, innovate, employ people, create goods and services, all these types of things that businesses are designed to do. Businesses aren't designed to get into these politicized areas, but they had been pushed in them for decades by the left. And so what we're trying to do is merely corrective. Like I said, we're not trying to turn every company into Chick-fil-A or Hobby Lobby. We're just trying to get them to be, neutral and not support political causes that are, bad. Not to say, okay, we're gonna pay for transgender surgery for minors, or we're going to pay for our employees to cross state lines to get an abortion in another state, or whatever it is.
Again, folks, we're talking to Alan Mendenhall. He's with the Heritage Foundation, research fellow at the Thomas A. Rowe Institute for Economic Policy Studies, and senior advisor with what we're just talking about, the Capital Markets Initiative. Now, this initiative, the Capital Markets Initiative, it's not just targeting the SPLC. There's worry about China risk, right, as well as like DEI and all its forms. So this is a continuing strategy going forward.
It absolutely is. Yeah. And we filed, like I said, 25 shareholder resolutions for this year. And I would expect that number to go up again next year. So what we kind of did is we just looked at our portfolio, and first of all, we picked the issues that we wanted to deal with. We wanted to work with regional banks with conservative members, basically a conservative consumer base. And I'll come back to that because Regions Financial up in Birmingham is on our list. And then we wanted to do federal contractors that were doing DEI metrics in their executive comp programs, because this is a specific violation of civil rights law if they're doing DEI. And in fact, the Department of Justice has recently announced that it's going to start investigating all federal contractors that are doing DEI. So now we have extra leverage on that. We can tell all these companies that are doing it, hey, it's not just us as shareholders, but you're going to get in trouble with the DOJ. This is a huge risk for you. And then, of course, the standard stuff, ESG, DEI, and executive pay, companies that are have risky relationships with the Chinese. And so all of these are things we wanted to focus on this time around. We may expand our scope next time we do it. Again, this is only the second year we've done it. So we went from filing 4 the first year to filing 25 the second year. So we've vastly expanded what we're focusing on and how many companies we're targeting. And again, I would expect us to multiply that number again next year. The only company that's really given us a hard time, and I wouldn't even say it's a hard time, is Starbucks. But Starbucks filed a no action letter with the SEC suggesting they're not going to do anything to get rid of their reliance on the Southern Poverty Law Center. Other than that, most of these companies, at least so far, seem to be very concerned that they have any ties to the SPLC at all.
Now, you mentioned Regions Bank, and of course, you were calling them out in a big way at your column at 1819 News in the last year. Now, this is part of also, like, they're under, like, say, the scope of what you're trying to do with the Capital Markets Initiative.
Yeah. So, in fact, when we were looking at different issues and companies, I asked the question, wait, do we own shares of Regions Bank? And our CFO said, I don't know, let me look. And he starts looking. He said, in fact, we do. We own shares of Regions Bank. I said, well, were you aware that I'm writing all these columns on Regions Bank? And he said, no, I'm not. I was like, well, here's an opportunity we have to go in and make Regions a better company. This is not about attacking Regions Bank for the bad stuff that Regions has been doing in the past. Look, if Regions cleaned everything up and it started doing good stuff and it stopped doing all of this DEI, ESG, it stopped working with the Human Rights Campaign, or at least assured us that it would not work with the Human Rights Campaign going forward, and it is not going to provide healthcare coverage for transgender individuals, and all these other things that Regions is possibly quite likely doing, then that would be great. It would make Regions a better company, and it would make Regions a company that is aligned with its consumer base. I mean, we're in red state Alabama, and Regions operates in Florida and Tennessee and all these surrounding states. Well, these are also red states. Why is Regions, giving millions and millions of dollars to Black Lives Matter? Why is Regions doing all this woke stuff when they're headquartered in red state Alabama? Their consumer base doesn't want all that stuff.
You're here. Now, my colleague here in the studio, Troy Carrico, wants to jump in and ask you a question.
Hey, Alan,
Yeah.
I really enjoy your writing, and I always look for it. You're very direct and very right. Question, or actually a comment. It's my understanding that SPLC has employed a lot of former intelligence analysts from the military. So you're seeing some of the reporting come out almost like sit reps that we had in the military. And I think it's interesting that you all are taking a counter to that and a balance. Or is there anything coming down the line out of the Heritage Foundation that might be able to support resources for conservative groups and things of that nature to fight back?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. There are some organizations that I would recommend that are doing this on the corporate level. So one would be the 1792 Exchange.
Yes.
They have something called corporate bias ratings.
Yes, all that.
And it is a great resource. You can go in there and look at what companies are doing and how how they score on that. And they are actually working with Regions Bank as well, trying to make Regions Bank to be a better company. I work with 1792 Exchange a lot. Of course, their engagement with Regions is completely separate from mine and Heritage's. But that's one great resource out there. Another one is the Viewpoint Diversity Score Index, and it focuses on like religious freedom and freedom of speech issues within corporations. So in particular, it's looking at corporations that might discriminate against Christians in the workplace in certain ways. And so that's another resource that's out there. And it's one that we use in our shareholder letters. We point out to companies, hey, you've got this bad ranking here, you've got this bad ranking here. And that's basically what the left was doing for years. They would say, hey, look, you've got this bad ranking with the Human Rights Campaign, or you got this bad ranking with the SPLC. So conservatives are now starting to form their own ratings and metrics agencies, and these are just two that I gave, but there are others that I would not be surprised popped up. Now, I'm not sure Heritage in particular is going to be creating those, but I wouldn't rule it out either.
Now, shifting gears, though, Regions Bank might have some, it might just be a coincidence, though, Alan, but can you tell the story about your year inside Alabama's textbook machine?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I was actually very happy to be appointed to the Alabama Social Studies part of the state textbook committee. And this occurred after the summer of 2024. I had spent that summer working on the social studies curriculum committee stuff and evaluating all the standards. And I put a lot of time and energy into this and circulated drafts to a lot of people. And I felt as though my energies had been rewarded, and the governor appointed me to this committee. I thought, that's great. This is awesome. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to do this. So flash forward, get appointed, start my work on the committee, and I'm assigned economics textbooks. And so, there are only about 4 or 5, I forget what the exact number is, that I have to go through. And I'm reading all of these textbooks, and I spend many, many hours doing this evaluation. I drive to Montgomery, to the Gordon Persons building, spend a whole day in there working on the evaluations. And I finish everything up in June. And I think that my duty is done, and that, I've had a great civic experience. I've contributed to society. I've worked on textbooks and education, which of course is something that's very important to me as a PhD, as somebody that's been in academia his entire career until recently moving into the think tank world. And then I started writing my pieces on Regions Bank. In fact, I wrote my very first piece on Regions Bank 3 days later. Maybe it's a coincidence, maybe it's not. 3 days later, a letter from the governor is sent out to me. It's dated 3 days later. Now they mail it to Troy University, and I had, I didn't work at Troy anymore, so it took about a month to get into my hands. And by the time it finally got to my house and I opened it, I was shocked because it was been like a month later, and saying that I'd been removed from the committee. At this point, I'd been done with all the committee work for 2 months. I was completely done. So they're removing me from the committee where I have no work left to do. And to be honest, this isn't just like a titular position. This isn't just like an honorific thing. It was a lot of work. I had to do all this textbook reading and evaluating and all this stuff. And then to have the governor pull me from the committee 3 days after my first article on Regions Bank seemed pretty low.
Now, did they give an official rationale, or what did they even say justifying this action?
All it said is it stated the statutory authority the governor had to remove me, and then said, "You're hereby removed effective immediately."
Supreme executive authority, Joey. We know this answer with Admiral Davis. Come on.
No rationale at all.
That's ridiculous. Maybe coincidence, but I highly doubt it ain't just coincidence. And that just goes to show that, maybe Coach Tuverill can't become governor here in the great state of Alabama soon enough.
Yeah, I agree totally.
Now, one thing, your piece out today at 1819 News, I guess you're doing a review of a book by Peter Earl. And we were just talking about, the DOJ referral and looking into Jerome Powell at the Federal Reserve. And, a lot of folks, wondering where's the future of monetary policy. But gold, despite Bitcoin and the new crypto market structure bill making its way through Congress right now, gold still plays a big part in this whole monetary regime.
Yeah, it does. So I read this book in part because Pete Earl is a friend of mine, and he's is amazing, and he's doing news appearances all over the place and really making a name for himself. But I really wanted to learn more about gold. And so I got this book. It is a slim volume, as I say in the piece, and I learned a ton. I mean, I learned a ton, and it's a quick, easy read, so I would recommend it to everybody. But I fully plan on buying some ETFs, putting some money into ETFs. The two that he mentions are SPDR Gold Shares and then iShares Gold Trust, and I'll probably put some of my own money in there this year just to experiment with a different kind of ETF.
Now, I know folks can always follow your writing at 1819news.com. But if they want to follow, maybe join in on what y'all are doing there at the Heritage Foundation, how can they do so?
Well, first of all, just reach out to me. I'd love to talk to you about it. My email is alan.mendenhall@heritage.org, and I'm not hard to find online. Just you can go to my website and leave me a note there. But I'd love to talk to people about how to get involved with what we're doing, and also to hear about what you might know that other companies are doing. I've got a ton of stuff that people have sent me about Regions Bank since my article started coming out. People who've worked there, people who had information on law firm that they had hired to help them wokeify their firm. And so I have email correspondences, I have other things that people have sent me that I haven't used. And I haven't used them primarily because some of them are old. And my hope is that Regions is really turning a corner. So one thing they did is, in response to some of my reporting, and by the way, Heritage wasn't the only one engaging. Somebody else was engaging unbeknownst to me. But in response to this engagement, plus my articles, Regions pulled its 2024 shared values report last year. It was a PDF up on the website, and they revised it, made a bunch of changes. So this document is what we used to call an ESG report. But of course, Regions, they weren't going to call it an ESG report. They're going to call it a shared values report. And they pulled it from the website, made some subtle changes here and there, and then posted it back on the website, a new PDF version. So, one take on this is, wow, how manipulative that they would do this. But the other take is, okay, the changes they made are really positive. They took out this woke crap from their shared values report and put it up there. So at least their changes are going in the right direction. Maybe with more encouragement, more nudging, we can push them to be a better, stronger company, and one that really does align with the values of its customer base.
Here.
That's good.
Well, and I'm hoping we make this a regular thing here on Mondays, and I'll be in touch, and always appreciate the time, Alan.
Yeah, thanks, Joey. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Alan.
Again, folks, that's Alan Mendenhall. You can find him there online, pretty much available. Like just type in Alan Mendenhall, his website will come right up. But I'm looking at the Heritage Foundation. You can find him. Even maybe you want to interview him yourself, get in touch with him in some way. One of these guys that I think is there's a bit of a polymath element to Alan, where he's doing like this, I would say, great stuff, as you just heard with that capital markets initiative, and getting into the weeds, the nuts and bolts of like how these big companies are relying on awful folks like the SPLC. But then he also has this literary flair to his work, which I greatly appreciate. And he reads a lot of books. So if you're looking, like he did one at year end of all the books he went over and read over 2025, if you're looking for a great book list or just a great follow on X to see, what all he's reading, what all he's checking out, follow Alan Mendenhall, and hoping to make that a regular thing, conversation with him going forward. I mean, I didn't know that there were, to your question, maybe intelligence folks.
So I have it on good advice from someone who previously worked with SPLC through the ACLU.
Mm-hmm.
Oddly enough, this person is from Iowa. She comes from a military family, but she's an attorney for ACLU. Great person.
Mm-hmm.
She's told me some things about them that they specifically went out in the last decade trying to get intel analysts so they could. But the problem with this kind of version of it is it's really public. It's really psyops is what it is. If you think about it, it's trying to shape a narrative through intelligence reporting. And if I was just looking at their database today, as we were talking with Alan, and it's pretty clear that they've adopted a paramilitary approach to how they do their intel.
Yeah. And it's, I think more and more folks are waking up to it, though. It doesn't have the same sting as if they brand you like they did maybe 10, even 15, 20 years ago.
I would agree with that.
But it's unfortunate to see that the long march of the institutions really is it's something that we still need to fight back against. And it doesn't mean you have to be like hardcore right-wing companies. Just be normal companies and stop relying on politicized crap to govern yourselves.
The long march is they're in it for the end game, the long game. And it's sort of like there's a reason why the long march was called by Mao Zedong. He said that the longest of journeys begins with the first step.
This part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services and their Pest Pro. Ashley and that great team are ready to help you out here in the new year. You should go ahead and call them up to get just basic pest control, but you're going to want a termite inspection done. You need to do that every year.
You better.
And if you haven't done it in a while, you're playing with fire. And why not go with Pest Pro and get year-round protection? They'll lay down those bait traps, all sorts of stuff. So if termites even get close to your property, they can come and take care of it without any hassle. Or it could be, it just got cold again. Yeah, they got a little cold last night.
Bird came in yesterday again. And I had to get him out. Yes.
So, folks, call a Pest Pro for wildlife control service. If a bird gets in, or a squirrel, or a raccoon,
don't try to do it like I do.
Even a little chipmunk, he'll eat through all sorts of stuff. Don't let those critters make a home out of your home. Pest Pro Services can take care of that for you. If you're looking for more information, you can always go to ppsriverregion.com or just search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces. But I just say call them direct. 265-9990. That's 265-9990. When you want to know, call a pro. Pest Pro Services, and be sure to tell Ashley and that great team that Joey and Troy, those fellas on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
At AMS Studios, indulge in the ultimate spa experience at the River Region's premier destination for relaxation and rejuvenation. From advanced skincare like IPL and laser hair removal to body treatments like Evolve, beauty enhancements, and therapeutic massage, our expert team is dedicated to helping you look and feel your best. Explore our full range of services on our website, amsstudiosmedspa.com, and find us on Facebook at AMS Studios.
The new year means new resolutions, not just for your body, but for your finances as well. Did you know that financial health is directly related to your identity protection? This is why you need LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your subscription money back. Resolve to make your identity, health, and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Visit LifeLock.com and save up to 40% off your first year with a promo code BECK. Terms apply.
As you reflect on last year and look ahead to the next, maybe it's time to ask yourself, how long have I had these floors? Go ahead, sing Old Lang Syne to that carpet from yesteryear and welcome in the fresh feeling of fabulous floors with Prattville Carpet's New Year's sale. Purchase Mohawk Smart Strand Carpet and ask about the free upgrade to a free pet pad.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. If you're looking for carpet, hardwood, laminate, vinyl plank, or ceramic tile, call us today for your free measurement.
New year, new floors. Get yours at PrattvilleCarpet.com.
Want that ride that is fun, affordable, and street legal? Check out ETG Outdoors in Montgomery. They have huge discounts on electric golf carts with many brand new units under 10 grand. New and used inventory, financing available, and they service what they sell. ETG Outdoors even provides lithium battery conversions and free delivery with purchase. Whether it's for the neighborhood, the farm, or just fun, ETG Outdoors, 7006 Vaughn Road, or online at etgoutdoors.com. Cruise smarter, drive electric. ETG Outdoors. Your ride to freedom starts here.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
Hi, this is Carl Schmidt, naturopath and owner of the Herb Shop. Listen every Saturday to Winning Wellness and learn from experts in different fields of science and technology how nutritional supplements can help you.
Listen to Winning Wellness every Saturday at 10 a.m.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
I'm Jim Smith with Adams Drugs. At Adams Drugs, we offer a wide variety of services, including delivery, compounding, wellness clinics, and immunizations. Now is the time to visit any Adams Drugs location and get your flu shot. Getting an annual flu shot can help prevent you from getting the flu, reduce the severity of symptoms if you get the flu, and prevent serious complications such as hospitalization and death. Getting your flu shot at Adams Drugs protects you from getting sick, but it also makes sure that those around you, especially those at high risk, remain safe. Each year, up to 49 million people in the U.S. contract the flu. Depending on the flu virus's severity, deaths as a result of flu complications could skyrocket to 79,000 people nationwide. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net for a location nearest you. Adams Drugs is your local, independently owned Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
When winter hits your furnace hard, don't settle for a quick fix. Call the Luckwire team that gets it done right and gets it done fast. Winter is tough enough without a broken heater. When your furnace struggles, call Luckwire to get your home warm again. Winter hits hard. We hit back. For furnace repairs done right and fast, you need Luckwire. Whatever you require, call Luckwire. AL license number 22154.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines.
Go to work for a family that puts God and family first. Wiley Sanders is looking for experienced dump truck drivers. Call them today, 855-777-9785. Drive for Wiley Sanders Truck Lines and be part of the family.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. Cold weather fans. This is a forecast you're going to love. Today, mostly sunny, with a high temperature only up to about 51. And tonight will be a colder night, with the overnight low temperature down to about 26 by dawn tomorrow morning. Tuesday's high temperature up to about 56 with lots of sunshine. And then 28 again on Tuesday night. We may tease 60 degrees on Wednesday before another shot of Arctic air arrives. Thursday will be bitterly cold. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More has the best prices. Carpet as low as 69 cents per square foot. LVP starting at $1.29 a square foot. Sheet vinyl as low as 65 cents per square foot. And the lowest prices on flooring installation supplies. Budget Floors and More across from Delray Publix.
When news happens, you'll hear about it first. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back. Now, again, Morgan Murphy, United States senatorial candidate from the great state of Alabama, did the fourth quarter of last year, the final quarter of 2025, a very impressive fundraising haul of over $1 million.
Yeah, I think a 1.050. They broke that, and they've got a lot of commitments for this first quarter, from what I understand from Jack. So
we'll see. That should wake up the entire field, and I look forward to talking to Morgan Murphy once again. He should be in studio here today. Looking forward to that. Before we head into anything else, you have a new op-ed coming out today, tomorrow, whenever they drop it at 1819news.com.
It's today, they said. So.
And so let's give an early sneak preview to
Sounds
folks.
good. And it's since we have Morgan coming in, who is a veteran and actually still serving, this is a very fitting prelude topic. Good riddance to another horrible year for Alabama's veterans. I thought we'd seen the worst years for veterans in Alabama in years past. 2017 was notably bad when the state legislator cut the state scholarship program for dependents of disabled veterans by 50%. What a sucker punch for those families counting on those funds for college. While other states were increasing benefits for their veterans, Joey, our state legislators stabbed Alabama's veterans and their families in the back with those cuts in benefits after many of those disabled veterans had specifically settled in the state of Alabama after their military service because of the promise of college scholarships for their children. Then came 2024 and Governor Ivey's horrible decision to remove the highly respected commissioner of the Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs from his office. A bizarre and almost certainly an illegal move on her part, after he was required by law and his bosses on the State Board of Veterans Affairs to file an ethics complaint against the deficient mental health system in our state. That deplorable decision effectuated the commissioners when the commissioner was battling stage 3 cancer, no less. What a national embarrassment. And as it continues to blow up in Ivey's face to this day, more to come. Be advised, it isn't over yet. Justice will be dealt accordingly to those who merit it. I was grossly wrong about 2025, however. It topped them all, it seems, when it came to the stifling of the state's military veterans. This year began with Ivey's continued vindictive contempt for veterans when she had her legal advisor, whom she later suspiciously appointed to the Alabama Supreme Court, draft what would become Senate Bill 67 for the legislators. A horrible piece of legislation that politicaled ADVA by making the commissioner a political appointee, read hack, for the first time in the 80-year history of this proud organization. She also ensured that the SPVA, made up of representatives from the Alabama's veteran service organizations since World War II, was stripped of the vast majority of any powers simply because the board had unanimously supported the previous commissioner, now making it a feckless advisory board of a political appointees with almost no powers. Ivey then used a combination of under-the-table promises, threats to kowtow enough state legislators, particularly the cowardly figurehead sponsors of the bill, to get it passed. It is notable, however, that 9 state senators and 40 state representatives saw the true motivation and effect of Senator Andrew Jones and Representative Ed Oliver as they rushed it through for a vote without appropriate public comment or without some legislators even being able to read the entire bill. It left many wondering what the rush was all about, except an expression of Ivey's bitterness and retaliation against Kent Davis, and ultimately the rest of us as veterans. I was at the State House several days monitoring this ambush by the governor on our good veterans of the state. Such a shameful and sinister actions were orchestrated by Ivey and her goons. Ivey's actions did not take long to pay off in a very bad way. Shortly after the passage of Senate Bill 67, Ivey handpicked a new ADVA commissioner, one that Kent Davis hired, Jeff Newton. Within a month of his appointment, via a combination of negligence by workers and poor supervision, a major fire broke out at the brand new state-of-the-art Benny G. Adkins State Veterans Home in Enterprise, Alabama. To remind Alabama veterans that home has been a 5-year project plus of the previous ADVA commissioner. Yes, the one that Ivey purported to terminate. It had been built to alleviate the nation's longest waiting list for state veteran home services. A building project that had admirably been brought in on time and on budget. Ironically, just a few days before Ivey removed the previous commissioner. When the major fire at the new home occurred and the new governor's office had been incredibly circumspect and evasive in the aftermath, reports are that the fire caused over $50 million in damages to the facility, and it would be closed for nearly 2.5 years while it undergoes major reconstruction. Despite all this, apparently no one has been held accountable for that crime, that entire fiasco. So much for supreme executive power by our increasingly elusive governor and her political appointees in the ADVA. I wish that I could express hope, Joey, for 2026, but the signs are already in place for another rough year ahead for Alabama's veterans. Governor Ivey, Alabama Power, what they had to do with veterans affairs is beyond me, and some of the same questionable actors in the state legislature, like Andrew Jones, are pushing a classic solution in search of a problem by spending $10 million additional dollars on consumer taxpayer money to open a nebulous Veterans Resource Center in crime-ridden, parking deficit downtown Montgomery. In addition, there's a brewing scandal involving another Ivey-fostered boondoggle called Dovetail Landing. And those 2026 window dressing issues, my fellow veterans and citizens of Alabama, will be subject to my next piece in the days to follow.
Appreciate it. Again, that's Troy Carrico, and you can read that for yourself, I think, later today, maybe after 2 o'clock here.
Yes, I think so.
About 15 shopping minutes. And yes, the legislative session, begins tomorrow here in the great state of Alabama.
Yes, sir.
And my guess, maybe I'll learn something going down there this week, but my guess is it'll be a fairly quiet session.
It should be.
Given all the elections coming up.
Yeah.
People don't want to necessarily rock the boat with a new governor coming in, though it also does give the incentive to get certain things done that might not be the biggest things in the world.
Right.
But get them done before you're out the door. Now, I think I saw Coach Tuberville say his role as governor on gambling should be to weigh the good and the bad and let the people vote.
That's exactly what he said. Yeah.
I think that's a sensible policy. I mean, I would like to see, though, he's wise to the fact that what are we actually going to vote on?
Right.
So he's not going to come out for or against anything, good or bad, until we actually have dried ink and this is what's actually been passed by the legislature and what is going to be presented to the people. Then he can say, yeah, I'll let the people vote, but here how I weigh it. And I think that sort of leadership, people have been demanding this for years. They'll just let us vote on it. Again, the question is going to be, because it's almost like a perfect equilibrium of competing interests, like people that want no gambling, people that want just the lottery, people that want the carve outs. So they're the only game in town for the gambling. Folks that are in the legal, say, gray area, or like they're fine locally, who don't want to be cut out of the action. And so you have this weird brew of money and interest that for whatever reason, we don't quite get across the finish line when it comes to gaming and gambling in the state.
Even Donald Trump Jr. had a problem trying to get some gambling pushed down on the Gulf Coast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a pretty tough state.
It's an interesting dynamic. So I doubt anything like that will be solved in this session. But on the top of my mind with state of Alabama, we've passed a lot of good laws in terms of law enforcement and whatnot, but maybe that needs to also be revisited, and certain state resources to beef up local municipalities should be certainly considered. The Montgomery Area Crime Suppression Unit, I think really pushed by Aaliyah and the sheriff, but the city joined in as well. Good idea, but Montgomery is very different. In fact, that's the good news about Montgomery. Montgomery is different in the sense of how small the footprint is of the metro area. You try doing something like this in Birmingham, I don't know if the state or the different counties in that metro area are going to have the resources ready to supplement.
You're right.
And so maybe you need more state action in that regard. Of course, my own narrow interest, I see there's a piece out at 1819news.com today in the op-ed section about making sure, Congress doesn't allow the big banks to get their hooks into the crypto stuff coming out. So Tabari Humphreys pinning this one, but I'm more wondering less of what the Senate's going to do. I agree with the sentiment in this op-ed by Tabari Humphreys. Big banks shouldn't dictate Alabama's financial future, particularly with the new technology and cryptocurrencies and whatnot. But on the state level, I believe a study commission report is supposed to come out in the first few days of the session. Their findings of what they think should be done in terms of regulation and other things with crypto. My hope is, because I believe Florida has filed this, Texas has already done it, that we get a Bitcoin strategic reserve.
Agreed.
And it doesn't even mean you have to go out as the state and get a bunch of the tech folks to buy it yourself and custody it yourself, though that would be the strongest position. It could be you just give the treasurer the permission to reallocate resources up to a certain threshold. And it could be like, just get exposure to a Bitcoin ETF, for instance. Florida is now looking at that. Texas has already done it. I believe they did 5 million worth of Bitcoin into their strategic reserve. And so I'm hoping that Alabama is at least ready after the study commission to make some moves down this road. Now, you have one guy, I need to invite him on the show here very soon, named Mike Shaw, State Representative Shaw, who is, I would say, the go-to guy in the legislature on a lot of these issues. And surprisingly, maybe surprisingly to some, this is a fairly bipartisan issue. Now, that means you have a bipartisan for and against.
Sure.
But it's not something that cuts neatly between Republican and Democrat. It more cuts between generations, I suspect.
I would agree.
And like traditional financial centers, traditional banking versus up-and-comers and younger folks. So I hope the state of Alabama at least starts taking steps in the right direction. This year, it's not a huge thing in the sense of it's like overhauling gambling in the state. But it is a thing that we should get done now. We should be early to the party. It will be to our long-term financial benefit as a state to be early to the party to this stuff.
Mississippi's already beat us on this too again.
Oh, did they already?
Governor Tatum's already got a panel for the crypto incorporation piece. So
Well, we need to move, and we need to move
generational.
now.
You said generational.
It's
Joey.
about time.
It is
And maybe there's been enough convincing and
I hope
talking it through behind the scenes so where something could actually be presented. The problem is, especially with certain generations, they don't even understand it. Now, this has gotten better and better as you know, the 50-year-olds are now 60-year-olds,
like
and they've bought and sold this stuff and been looking at it for a while.
Agreed.
But you're now talking about a technology that's almost 15 years old.
Yes, at least. So yeah.
And it is time to actually, get on top of it.
We're actually behind the curve, I think, really, nationally and statewide, I think, on it. So
yeah, and that's my hope and prayer at the federal level is that just a market structure bill, as they call it, gets through to where a lot of the great ideas that have been implemented aren't able to be reversed if you get a new president in there. And we'll see. It's, again, a big game between your up-and-comers, your new movers and innovators in the space of finance, as well as the old guard that doesn't like to be cut out of their position as middlemen between, say, the government and the people.
And might I suggest that Jerome Powell and the Fed have nothing to do with any of that
That's partly the concern,
right?
In some way. Anyway, we got to hit this quick break. First, this entire hour brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage, and they're at Alabama Home Mortgage. Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon are ready to help you out as interest rates continue to fall in the mortgage market.
That's great.
So you should already be on top of it, but you should go ahead and start the conversation with them, whether you're looking to buy or refinance your current home. Whatever goals you have in refinancing, they can help you meet those goals. Could be getting credit card debt off your back, reconsolidating debt in general. Could be you want to bring down monthly overhead costs so that retirement money actually lasts. Could be you want to reinvest in yourself, your property, your family. Could be you want to go on that dream vacation and you got money built up in the house, and that's what it's for.
I mean, crypto, man.
They can help you with those goals. We're not telling you what to do with it, but if you have those goals, Alabama Home Mortgage can help you meet them. And of course, if you are looking to buy, it all starts with pre-approval. Go ahead and get pre-approved with Alabama Home Mortgage, and they will walk with you every step of the way from pre-approval all the way to closing day. And of course, I got to mention that they specialize in helping veterans.
They do.
Take advantage of those VA home loan programs. So y'all check them out today. You can start the conversation at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Did you know that 80% of New Year's resolutions fail by February? And did you know there's a good chance it's just hormones? Hi, I'm Evan Bass, founder of Montgomery Men's Health, and I started this clinic to take care of men. If your testosterone is low, then motivation, energy, and drive often follow too. And keeping resolutions can feel like walking through mud. Even more so as we age, these things tend to get worse if untreated. Guys, you're not alone. Your urologist-led support team at Montgomery Men's Health has your back. For years, we've effectively treated ED and low T comprehensively and with proven treatments dialed in just for you. With same-day booking, you can meet our passionate team, and by this afternoon, you'll leave with a plan that's designed to be sustainable for life. The number one thing we hear guys say is, I forgot how I used to feel. Guys, it's time to feel amazing and crush this new year. Call my team right now and let us treat you to an unforgettable experience. Dial 334-440-3663 or go to montgomerymenshealth.com. montgomerymenshealth.com.
This is Jennifer Pestricelli, General Sales Manager and co-owner of Blue Water Broadcasting, and we're powering up our sales team. If you're a go-getter who loves meeting people, closing deals, and helping local businesses win, this is your moment. You'll develop broadcast and digital advertising campaigns, prospect for new clients, and manage your own list of accounts, all in a fast-paced, creative environment. Outside sales experience is a huge plus. Media experience is even better. Ready to level up your career? Send me your resume today by going to bluewaterbroadcasting.com.
Love is in the air and on the boat. The Harriet 2 riverboat, that is. Bring your special someone for a romantic evening and experience the elegance of cruising the Alabama River. Enjoy a delicious dinner while taking in the stunning sights. Dance the night away to the tunes that touch your soul, or just sit back and relax. Roses and champagne complete your lover's evening. Book your Valentine's cruise for February 13th and 14th at funinmontgomery.com.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
The premier place the River Region turns to for news, weather, traffic, and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Michael Cohen with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing today?
One quick second. Hey, Joey, how are you? I'm doing great.
Yeah, life's good. Good start to the week so far. What's the score there today, Cohen's?
That's like 21 to zip. Got a nice couple in here. They're looking at a 75-inch Samsung. They've already done their homework, and we'll get it delivered in the next day or so.
And let's just remind folks that it's the service that really makes a difference. Now, y'all aren't going to be beat on price, but I can't think of anybody that does the service y'all do.
No, I don't think there is. And, because all my big box friends, like Best Buy, they charge you to deliver it. They charge you to mount it. Then they charge someone else to come out there and set up your Wi-Fi. And we're fortunate we have one guy that just does it.
Absolutely.
Keep it simple.
And then if, say, you buy a new refrigerator, what are you going to do with the old one? Y'all haul that thing off, right?
We'll haul it off. And sometimes we haul off old TVs.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, and folks, there's a reason Cohen's, y'all been in business 60 plus years, something like that?
67-ish.
Wow. And so it's a generational thing, not just with the family business, but also with customers there at Cohen's. I've had many members through the generations of my own family who are happy customers of Cohen's. So y'all check them out today. You can always go to thinkcohens.com if you want to peruse the website, shop online. But I encourage you to stop by the Boulevard. That's 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. They're open 9 to 6, Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And find Michael and say, hey, I heard you on that radio show with that Joey Clark fellow.
That's right. Y'all come see us. Let us help you make the right choice.
Thank you, Michael.
Have a good day.
You too. Again, that's Michael Cohen with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. In just a moment, we should have United States Senate candidate Morgan Murphy. Just did a big fundraising haul. We'll ask him about, how that came to pass. I think it surprised a good bit of people. And it's going to be a very competitive race, though, I think. And that's just the nature of the beast here with Steve Marshall, Barry Moore, Jared Hudson. Rodney Walker has now qualified. I don't know how much money he's raised. And, of course, Morgan Murphy. And there is going to be quite a race ahead in these next few months. It's, before you know it, it'll be primary day, and we will be voting. And, by the way, that's where all the action is, in the Republican primary. If you wait to the general election, you're letting a small group of people decide for you. If you jump in early with the primaries, you might actually have a little more say on who you want being your Republican nominee. And unfortunately, for better or worse, we're a one-party state. We're the Dixiecrats, the Democratic Party for so long, and now the GOP dominates here in the great state of Alabama. So unless you're just a flaming lib, and God love you if you are, there's some libs who are great. Maybe I'm a lib at heart, and life has beaten me down and taught me you can't just go with your heart, young man. But unless you're a flaming lib, get out there, get ready for this Republican primary coming up in the next few months. In particular, a very crowded United States Senate field to replace Coach Tommy Tuberville. And of course, Tuberville is presumed governor. He still will have to earn it to a degree. Meeting with a lot of folks already in the state of Alabama, traveling all up and down the state of Alabama. And his presumed opponent for the Democrats will be the guy who ran against him for the United States Senate position back in, I guess that was 2020, Doug Jones. And Doug Jones recently went on Todd Stacey's show, Capital Journal and Alabama Public Television. How's it shaking, Todd? Good dude. And he acknowledged having real disagreements, Doug Jones did, on education policy. And he specifically cited the Choose Act and school choice, saying education is always a big thing. It's a number one issue on a lot of people's minds. We want to give people the opportunity to have a say. Here's what I have some real disagreements with what's going on in Montgomery. We've done some pretty good job in early years. For instance, I just saw something about reading on third grade levels and how that's improved. But it's improved because there was money going into those school systems, and it was federal dollars going in. It was COVID money going in. I don't know if it was just the money. Maybe it was a thing called the Literacy Act, where there were consequences if you actually fail to get up to reading level. But Jones is setting his sights on the Choose Act. Now, I don't think that's going to fly with most people in Alabama, but could have predicted that the Democrat Doug Jones would not like a school choice proposal. So how about this? I'll hit an early break. We'll come back and open up the hour with Morgan Murphy, candidate for United States Senate.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell says he's facing a criminal indictment from the Justice Department. He says the threats are based on President Trump's unhappiness over interest rate policy. The subpoena, however, relates to Powell's congressional testimony last June. Los Angeles police responded on Sunday after somebody drove a U-Haul box truck down a street crowded with marchers demonstrating in support of the Iranian people. The driver, a man who was not identified, was detained pending further investigation. A police statement said one person was hit by the truck, but nobody was seriously hurt. It is week 2 in the trial of a Texas police officer charged in the halting law enforcement response to the 2022 fatal shooting at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. On Wall Street, it has been a strong session so far. The Dow is up, not by much, but it's up 15 points. The Nasdaq up by 117. This is SRN News.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-893-2288. That's 800-893-2288.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by McPhillips Schimbaum.
My name is Aaron Luck, a partner with the law firm of McPhillips Schimbaum. If you or someone in your family has been seriously injured by the negligence of someone else, call me directly.
262-1911. Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. If you love Arctic air, you're going to love this forecast. Tonight, partly cloudy, very cold. Overnight low temperature down to about 26 by dawn tomorrow morning. Tuesday's high temperature still well below normal, high 56, down to the upper 20s on Tuesday night. On Wednesday, I think we'll tease 60 degrees, but then another shot of Arctic air, perhaps even colder by Thursday. Thursday's high only in the lower 40s, but the winds will make it seem colder. Stay warm. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
1819 News.
Democrat Doug Jones says he has a real disagreement with the Choose Act here in Alabama. Jones is challenging Tommy Tuberville in the upcoming gubernatorial race this year. Jones was recently speaking on Capitol Journal, where the topic of education came up. Jones said his problem with the Choose Act is that taxpayer money that would go to public schools is now going to private schools as it follows the student and their choice of education. Jones doesn't like the fact that these private schools are not being monitored or regulated by state government. He says it's not proper. Jones indicated that this is an area he would want to change as governor. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Did you know that 70% of people experience a potentially traumatic event in their lifetime, and that 6 out of every 100 adults face PTSD every day? Help us bring hope to these survivors by signing up for your Alabama Distinctive PTSD Awareness license plate today. The great thing is you can sign up no matter when your current plate renews, and the first year is complimentary. All you need is your VIN number on hand. Drive awareness, drive hope, and customize your plate today at atease.org.
A home invasion occurred in Opelika over the weekend. Police got a call from a homeowner on Saturday about a man who entered that home armed with a gun. 40-year-old Mario Harrison was found there and taken into custody. Police also found that Harrison was in possession of 2 firearms at the time. A search for a missing boater is now entering day 3. 54-year-old James Dawkins of Wetumpka was last seen on a 12-foot John boat at the Shelton Landing in Autauga County. Family members have not had any contact with Dawkins since then. Multiple water rescue groups are involved in this search and rescue effort. An illegal alien is facing federal charges of forcible assault for biting an ICE officer during a traffic stop. 30-year-old Antonio Juan is from Guatemala. He was stopped in DeKalb County this past December. The case against Juan will be conducted by Assistant U.S. Attorney Brett Janik. I'm Andrea Tyson.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. At PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Welcome back to the program. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Troy Carrica is still here in the studio with me. And as promised, we have a candidate to be your next United States Senator from the great state of Alabama, Morgan Murphy, in the studio with us. Morgan, how you doing today, sir?
I am outstanding today, Joey. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to see you. Well, and I'm looking at a 1819 News article here, and it says former Trump official and U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville staffer Morgan Murphy Senate campaign raised well over $1 million. The last quarter of 2025, that's a great number, but how did this even come about? Like, I'll just be blunt. There was a poll I was talking about with Jeff Poore, had you at like 1%, and now I'm seeing this $1 million haul. So tell us about this.
Well, there are a lot of people in conservative circles here in Alabama and across the nation that want a real conservative in Tommy Tuberville's seat. Tommy Tuberville is the most MAGA voice in the United States Senate. He was the first senator to endorse President Trump. He has been an ally of the president. I was there with him when he took office. And let me tell you what, there were a lot of people who hated us. The Democrats, of course, hated us. We expected that. But what surprised me, I was a political newcomer. I moved from Birmingham, Alabama, up to Washington in 2020 to work for President Trump and then for Tommy Tuberville. And so what shocked me, being a political newcomer, was how much establishment conservatives hated Tommy Tuberville. We walked by 25,000 National Guardsmen on our way into the Capitol, into our offices each day. And they were there to protect Congress from us, from those filthy MAGA Trump supporters, and we were hated. Nowadays, here in 2026, everybody says they love President Trump because he's winning. So all of the squishes have kind of gone into hiding, and they say, "Oh yeah, I was with Trump the whole time." No, you weren't.
Yeah, and just to remind folks, I believe you were caught up in that Jack Smith thing where they not only went after Senator Tuberville's phone and information, you got
Operation Arctic Frost. Yeah. So it's a 2-hop rule. Troy knows this, that when the CIA or any one of those nefarious 3-letter agencies tap a phone, they have a 2-hop rule. So they can also tap the phone of whoever their target is talking to. Well, guess who Tommy Tuberville was talking to? His national security advisor every day, right? So my phone was hacked, and I considered myself an ordinary, regular guy until I, raised my hand, volunteered to go work in the swamp. And the swamp taught me some hard lessons really quick.
Now, I've had a lot of people ask me to ask everybody running for this seat, how can you fill the shoes? How can you keep the legacy of Coach Tuberville going? I think that's pretty obvious from your standpoint. If you want to double down on that and touch that, please do. But I guess my second part to this question is we will soon, our junior senator will be a very young senior senator, Senator Katie Britt. Is there a plan to make sure that y'all are working together as a team? I think when you have 2 senators from the state on the same page, it allows, more benefit to the state.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Katie Britt is a freshman senator. I went and met with her in August and said, what are you looking for in a partner? Because I want to be a partner to Katie Britt. It's really important that we're going to have 2 freshman senators. And for people who don't know the Senate, I'll give a quick Senate synopsis of how to be successful. Way number 1 to be successful in the Senate, and this is the traditional way that most of the fossils in DC have ascribed to, is serve 3 terms, be there 18 years, then you get to be a committee chair, and then you get to bring home bacon for your state. And that is the way of most parochial senators. The second way to be successful in the Senate is to be famous. And that's the Coach Tuberville way, right? I cannot tell you how many times we were in a big meeting with a CEO or a titan of industry or a 4-star admiral or something. And at the end of the presentation, the big important presentation, they would look at Coach and clear their throats and say, you remember that game back in 1987?
Did you hear War Damn Eagle? Sometimes
they were like little boys. It's like everybody became a 5-year-old around Coach, and his celebrity status, and he really is a celeb.
He is.
His celebrity status was a real soft power in DC, and allowed him to do a lot more as a senator because people wanted to talk to him, people wanted to meet with him.
Yeah.
That's the second way. Third way to be successful in the Senate is what I call the Katie Britt way. Katie Britt was a former staffer to Richard Shelby. She knew how the Senate worked. The Senate is complicated. It is not for beginners. It's not an entry-level job. It is, cloture and filibusters and committees, and the personalities of the Senate are hard to learn. Katie knew all of that. So when she took office day 1, she was able to be effective. She got the Laken-Riley Act over the line in her first year, when most freshman senators don't get any legislation over the line in their first term, let alone their first year.
Right.
So I told Senator Britt that I was going to go to school on her and follow her path in the Senate. So I know the Senate. I worked for Tommy Tuberville. I was his national security advisor. And I'm telling voters in Alabama, if you like what Tommy Tuberville has done in the United States Senate, and you like what President Trump is doing in Washington, then you will like what Morgan Murphy does in Washington, D.C., because I wrote policy and worked for both men.
There you go. And now, in terms of especially continuing Tuberville's legacy, but also leaning into your expertise, and maybe you can school me in the audience on this, especially if you're looking out for the interests of the state, certain committees you might want to be on where, that committee really plays into the interest of your state. So are there particular committees you're looking to serve on, and how does that all work?
Exactly? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so Coach serves on what I consider the most important committee in the United States Senate, and that is Senate Armed Services.
Absolutely.
They have oversight of our military, the military-industrial complex, 3 million service members, and that's Coach's prime seat. And I've served in the United States Navy for 26 years.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, Troy,
I'm so
you're killing
sorry.
me over there. You're killing me.
At least you're not Air Force.
That's true. We can both agree on that. No, I mean, like you, it takes a long time to learn the military, especially if you've never served in the military before. If you don't know the burden of command, I've held command. I've been deployed 3 times. I've been deployed to Afghanistan. I've handed 266 American flags across a tombstone to next of kin. I've worn the cloth of our nation for a long time. It's part of who I am. And when I am in the United States Senate, I'm going to keep those servicemen and women in mind every day. And on armed services for a state like Alabama. So consider Alabama has 5 major military bases. Alabama has 450,000 veterans. We've got 1,000 military contractors that are the arsenal of democracy in this state. They need somebody who knows that business. And you can't just say, well, I'll pick it up when I get there, right? That is not realistic. They need someone, we need someone to take Coach's seat on armed services. Katie Britt serves on, she's doing a terrific job on appropriations. She sits on rules. I think she's on banking. Like we don't, and judiciary, we don't need someone to go and serve on those committees with her and challenge her for seniority or a spot at the seat. Our senators need to be a partner and work together. And fortunately, my interests don't really overlap with hers.
Speaking of Navy, why are you called the Battleship, Senator?
Well, because I launched my campaign in front of the Battleship Alabama. And a lot of people ask, like, why did you launch a campaign in front of a battleship? Because one, power. Power. It's power. It's power.
Machiavellian power.
And we're bringing in the big guns. And I think the big guns are leadership and experience. And you need to have a proven track record leading people. I've led a team of 3,500 people. I've managed budgets that stretch into the hundreds of millions. You need someone that has that experience. I know how the interagency in Washington works. I know how the White House and the State Department, communicate, for better or worse, and the Pentagon, how that procurement process works. And I'm nerding out on you, Joey, but that is what the Senate does. It manages the government and the interagency at the uppermost level. And we need someone who understands that. You can't learn on the job. You can, but you wouldn't be effective for the people of Alabama.
And again, folks, we're talking to Morgan Murphy as a candidate to be your next United States Senator from the great state of Alabama. If folks want to donate or volunteer for your campaign, how can they do so if they're listening?
They can. Thank you, Joey. I appreciate you. They can go to murphyforsenate.com. It's Murphy, my last name, MURPHYFOR, Senate.com. And I'd appreciate that because it makes such a difference. A lot of people told me when I got in this race, oh, Morgan, isn't it nice that you're running? Pat me on the head. You're never going to be able to out fundraise career politicians. Career politicians come in with these advantages, big advantages. They've got fundraisers. They've got what they call a house file. That is a list of everybody that's ever given you a nickel. They've got publicists and staff, and they've got policy people to write policy and PR papers and op-eds. And they've got all these people, and you're just a Navy officer, Morgan. So, good luck to you. They were nice. They were polite, but they did not think that I could raise any money. And they some of them would say it kind of bluntly. Well, how about I raise twice as much as anyone's raised in their first quarter in this race? And that's all none of it is dark DC money. We didn't take a nickel of special interest PAC money, not one dime. It's all from individual 10,000 donations from 6,700 individual contributors.
It's awesome.
So if you could give me the equivalent of a cup of coffee, you send $10. If anything I've said,
you could feed a family for 4 in Honduras, right?
Well, you can have a voice in Washington, D.C. and be a part of something that's growing. And it's exciting to get that energy. People are like, oh my gosh, like this today I've got a big smile on my face because today we've proven that regular people can make a difference in Washington.
So can I ask you, Kent Davis I spoke to today, tell me about your relationship with the Admiral and his situations and how influential he was. I know when I first met you, I talked to you about the Admiral. I have a funny story offline about that, but we'll go on in a different way. Morgan, you're a great individual. And if the Admiral says you're good people, you're good people. Tell us how important the veterans are to you and your campaign.
Admiral Davis, of course, I knew him when he was Captain Davis.
Sure.
He was my commanding officer when I was a young buck in the Navy. And Admiral Davis is one of the finest men I've ever known. He's a great American and a great patriot, and I'm just so proud to know him. I saw him the other night in Mobile, and he is phenomenal. And when he speaks about veterans and veterans issues, it really hits to the heart, I think, of anyone who loves this country and who love the people who stand up and serve this country. I'm a veteran myself, but I have a great passion for veterans and their issues, and he does as well, and that's why I admire him so much. He's a caretaker at heart.
Here. Now, I had a couple of your competitors on last week, so I want to ask you a similar thing. What do you make of this Venezuela operation? Not just the apprehension of Maduro, but the kind of the entire strategy here. It seems like it's heading in the right direction.
Now let's go. LFG, man.
Yeah,
I am. I've been saying for weeks as the flotilla. It was a Navy flotilla there.
It was. And you didn't need a weatherman to tell you what was going to happen.
No,
if there's a carrier strike group there.
Yeah, you have a giant carrier strike group off the coast. And I said a lot on national media and local media everywhere that this is important. And the president was sending a very clear message to Maduro, who's not the brightest guy. Like, he's a bus driver, kind of stupid. Like, the president vaporized a bunch of ships. And that sent, like, if you're a sitting dictator, you should have been, if you had, enough brains, you would probably look at that and say, if they can do that to a small fishing vessel, quote, a fishing vessel, he could probably get me in my house. Mm-hmm. I guess he just didn't connect those dots. But Venezuela is so important. And what I love about our president is he just says it like it is. He's like, we have to have the oil. Right. He's not trying to hide it. He's not trying to gloss it over with a bunch of hoity-toity, diplomatic State Department language. He just says, look, the future of the United States is dependent on our control of energy. And the Chinese are buying 90% of the oil from Venezuela. Venezuela stole that oil from American oil companies, and I'm going to do something about it. God bless President Trump for just saying it like it is, and also follow through. Follow through is important with a dog. It's important with a child. It's important with a country. When you say you're going to do something, you better do it. Obama just kept this is the line in the sand. Okay, well, let me take 3 steps back and say, well, this is the line you can't cross. He just always kept retreating. President Trump, when he says, thank you for your attention to this matter, means watch out.
Morgan, it's funny you say this because, first of all, Rangers secured the compound. So, there was one platoon of Rangers that came in. I just want to make that clear. Okay. People today that in the media think, it's colonialism. We're doing that. This has nothing to do. We don't need that oil. We need it as leverage against the people that are operating in our battle space, the Chinese primarily, along with Hezbollah and all these mosques that are being built down there. So what's your thoughts with China in regards to China and how this plays out?
Well, it gives us incredible leverage over China, and Trump's playing nice with China. He's like, we'll sell you the oil, right? We're gonna sell it to you. No problem. If you take Taiwan, we might not sell it to you.
There you go.
Right? So there's leverage. What I like about our president, and so for years, since the fall of the Cold War, American politicians have said, we're the best. We have the greatest military. We can do anything. And we do have a great military, and we spend a lot of money on it. But when all you build is hammers, everything looks like a nail. Yep. And so too many politicians for too long have just used the military as a Swiss Army knife to solve every possible problem. They've got the military acting like the State Department, running all over,
nation building, provincial reconstruction teams. Need I go on?
Yeah. And so our president uses the military as it should be used to break things and kill people. And then he uses the rest of DIME, which for you national security strategy people out there, DIME is diplomatic, intelligence, military, and economy, right? Those are the four ways a nation can influence the actions of another nation through DIME. And for a long time, we were just, we just used the military on everything. And that was dumb. This president is using the rest. He's using the economy. He's using everything to try to get China to do the right thing. Do the right thing. Don't invade Taiwan. Be a good global player. No, you're not going to, be a rogue state. No, you're not going to steal our technology. No, you're not going to just continue to pollute the entire world. You're going to play by our rules. And the only thing is not international order that can get you to play by our rules. It's power that can get you to play by our rules. And the United States is going to remain powerful under President Trump.
Now, and I think as much as I like the new strategy, and in my mind, it's not full non-interventionist Ron Paul, but it's still not the neocon approach. It really is a different third way. And part of why I like that third way is it does seem in the long run to be about the American economy and American strength in the American people. Yes. Yeah. And I'd imagine as much as Democrats will try to make noises about Trump's foreign policy, some of them, I'm sure, behind the scenes are like, actually, that was pretty great what he did. But they're definitely going to continue to hammer affordability, the economy, just inflationary pressures and everyday costs to people. Are you hearing that as you travel around the state of Alabama?
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I want to talk about that. And that's what Republicans should be talking about that. And I don't hear Republicans talking about that. Since President Trump took office, and I was really proud to go work for him in his second administration, think about egg prices are down $5. Inflation, which was rampant under Joe Biden, almost hit double digits. Worst inflation in our country's history, is down to 2.7%. The stock market is an all-time high. We've deported 600,000 illegal immigrants, and 1.9 million illegal immigrants have self-deported. We have raised $250 billion extra dollars that we weren't counting on in tariffs, and that has cut our deficit in 1 year by 20%. Growth, GDP growth, is now at 4.9%. That's the highest it has been since, guess what? Trump's last term. That's right. Gasoline prices are down to their lowest price since 2021, when it was COVID and nobody was driving anywhere, so gas was practically free, and they're going to keep going down with what's happening in Venezuela and possibly Iran. Trump has ended 8 wars. He has solved the Gaza war, which a lot of people thought was impossible. He has obliterated Iran's, or Iran, as I like to say, Iran's nuclear program. He's absolutely smashed it into a billion parts. We don't have to worry about them anymore. We are now respected on the world stage. Like, are we winning enough yet? No, we're going to keep going. But this is incredible what one president has managed to do in just a year.
Now, an idea you brought up last time we had a conversation, or it might have been the time before that. In a past conversation, you brought up this idea of the filibuster, of let's get back to a spoken, like you have to actually get on the floor and speak. And I believe I saw Senator Mike Lee and Elon Musk now supporting this idea. For folks who didn't hear our past conversation, I love this idea, but what's the idea?
Okay, we're going to nerd out on some Senate rules again. So the filibuster traditionally is if there is debate. The Senate is the cooling saucer. Jefferson said it was the cooling saucer to the hot tea of the House, right? So majority rule goes over in the House, and then things come to the Senate and they kind of cool down. And the filibuster is one of those cooling mechanisms. It allows for unlimited debate. And so as long as there's debate going on, they don't take a vote on a bill. And it requires 60 votes to get over a filibuster, which we only have 53 votes in the Senate, 52 if Senator Paul usually doesn't vote with us, or Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins make that 51.
Tillis is a little cranky.
Tillis is a little cranked these days. So, Republicans are not as unified as Democrats are typically. But my point is that a filibuster, unless you can find another 7 Democrats to vote with you, you can't get over a filibuster. And the president has suggested nuking the filibuster, by which just going to majority majority rule. And I agree with him, because the filibuster is right now an excuse for every Republican to do nothing. So they say, oh, well, Senate rules, Senate tradition, we can't get over the filibuster. And unfortunately, there are only 6 senators who have voted or signaled that they would vote to overcome the filibuster, that is, get rid of the filibuster. When Democrats were in power in 2022, I remember this well, 48 of them wanted to nuke the filibuster. It was only saved by Manchin and Senator Sinema, neither of which are going to be in the Senate much longer. So I've got a alternate way of fixing the filibuster. In the 70s, along with bell bottoms and shag carpet, the Senate had another really horrible idea. And that is, instead of having to go down to the floor and debate an issue and debate, like Mr. Smith, if you've seen that, when he goes to Washington, he's debating all night on something. That he was filibustering. It was a verb back then. The Senate in the 70s said, let's just do this silent filibuster thing. If you just say you're going to filibuster something, then you don't actually have to be on the floor. So now senators can just sit in their office and smoke or doom scroll Instagram or whatever they want to do and just say they're going to filibuster something, and they don't actually have to debate. And that was a 2-word change. They changed it from present and voting to duly sworn and elected, which meant that now to overcome a filibuster, you need 60 votes of everybody. Before, you just needed 2/3 majority of people on the floor. And so if you only had 10 people on the floor, you only needed, 6 people to overcome the filibuster. So Republicans could have said, like, at 2 a.m., let's all go down to the floor.
Yeah.
And Democrats would have had to keep 27 people. Like this as an example, in the last government shutdown, Democrats would have had to keep 27 people on the Senate floor at all times. And do you think that bunch of geezers could have operated day and night, like in 12-hour shifts to keep, there are only 40-something of them. So that would have been more than half of their membership would have been on the floor for 43 days? No. The other thing that it would do is bring back debate.
Amen.
And Republicans are better debaters. Why? Because we've been having to debate everybody. We've got to debate Hollywood. We've got to debate higher ed. We've got to debate big tech. We've got to debate the entire government bureaucracy. We've got to debate the media. Everybody is against us. So if we want to get elected, we've got to be able to talk good, right?
Yes,
and we do. And we've got amazing debaters, and they could shellac most Democrats. If you put Mike Lee down there and Tom Cotton and Rand Paul, there's a great debater. You could put people. I've watched Democrats debate. And they're lazy because they don't have anybody fact checking them. The media is not on their case. If I'd let my boss say some of the stuff that like Elizabeth Warren says, like the Washington Post would have lit him up like a Christmas tree. It just doesn't happen on the other side. So as a result, they're kind of lazy. So I'm gonna call it the Charlie Kirk rule.
Okay.
I think we ought to name it after Charlie Kirk, who is the nation's preeminent debater and the person who really championed Americans talking to each other, and get the Senate talking to each other again. And I think that would also put a face to obstruction. Because if Schumer and his band of idiots were down there 24/7 obstructing government, holding up people's checks, holding up senior citizens' checks, they'd have to articulate why they're doing it. And the whole country could see who it was that was holding up government.
Well, and it makes me think the Democrats, especially the National Party, lives in a different world. Like, with all the candlelight vigil on January 6th, really. And then also this encouragement to go and just put your bodies on the line, put your cars in the way, and harass your children, harass law enforcement, in particular ICE officers doing what the people voted for in 2024. What do you make of some of these scenes we've been seeing over not just the last week, but it's been going on since President Trump got back into office?
They're mentally ill. And it's really apparent when you see their behavior. And body cams are not working for the left these days. Because when you see, I think when normal people who are going about their daily life, working hard, paying taxes, trying to raise their children in the age of social media and all of the cultural upheaval that we're going through as a country, see these leftists. And I'll tell you a story. I took my son, one of the proudest moments I had. My son little boy was 10 years old at the time, and I took him to the White House this summer. President Trump threw a party at the White House for all the staff to thank us, and my son thought it was the greatest thing ever because the president served McDonald's and had unlimited ice cream. So that is the day.
That's a Navy. That's a Navy mess hall.
That is the day my young son became a Republican. He was like, "This is awesome," right? He just couldn't. He met Kash Patel, and he was like, "He's the FBI director." I said, "Yeah, the FBI." He's like, "As in open up FBI director?" I was like, "Yeah, as in open up as the FBI." He had a great day. It was a good day. We walked outside of the White House grounds there next to the Willard, and there were about 12 deranged leftists they had the whole thing, right? The blue hair and the septum piercing and the
tackle box,
the whole
the mental health badge. I call that the mental health
the whole
badge.
thing. And they were yelling at bullhorns about free Palestine and whatever, and they came up and they were putting a bullhorn really close to us and yelling at us. It was just the two of us walking out. And my son turned to me and said, Dad, are those Democrats? I said, "Yeah, bud, those are Democrats." He said, "Well, they're stupid because I'm 10. I can't even vote, right? Why are they yelling at me?"
Funny. Out of the mouth of babes.
And yeah, but it's obvious to a 10-year-old. It's obvious to anyone watching these protests. You're like, well, how do so many of you come together? Don't you have a job? Oh, wait, your job is to go professionally protest. Oh, wait, Act Blue and George Soros are somehow funding all of these, quote, spontaneous uprisings around the country. And Americans are catching on to this garbage.
You know what's troubling? And I commented on your post on X the other day. The terrible crucible that this country went through in the 1860s was established, unfortunately, in the War of Northern Aggression. Its dominance of D.C. over states in all matters. How are we even having a conversation right now with with Walz and all these people up there that are flaunting federal authority? That didn't work out good for the South that time it happened. So,
no, Democrats have never given up the idea of states' rights, right? Yeah. So Democrats have been fighting for this for 150 years. And it's the same policy. They want to ignore federal law. And that is absolutely what they're doing, and it's incredible to watch. And they're inciting violence, and the president said march peacefully up to the Capitol to protest, and they said, oh, he incited violence. But we have seen time and time again this year as Democrats not only encouraged violence, but have celebrated murder. They've celebrated murder, and it's time for Republicans to get tough. I'm tired of listening to Republicans say, well, we can't do this. No. It is time for Republicans to get tough, and we've got to get people in Washington who are willing to take the flack. The Senate is a country club, and there are a lot of senators who go up there. It's the world's smallest country club, and I've watched it happen, who get up there and they say, well, let's just go along to get along, and they cave to the peer pressure. Tommy Tuberville never did that. That's one of the reasons I admired him so much. He stood in the breach when everybody, of course, all the Democrats, but a lot of Republicans too, tried to get him to surrender. He refused to do that. We need more Tommy Tubervilles in Washington.
You're here. Well, I was going to say closing word, but that's a pretty good closing word right there. If folks want to, again, donate or support your campaign in any way, how can they do that?
Listen, I'd love some volunteers. We're at that stage in the campaign. I need, if you want to put up a yard sign, or you want to send in $10, or you just want to say attaboy, come to murphyforsenate.com or follow me on Twitter or Facebook. All of my handles are the same, at Morgan WW Murphy.
And for locals, you're going to be at Sinclair's tomorrow, right?
That's right. Come by. Meet me in person. I'd love to talk to you about issues that are important to you.
Again, folks, Morgan Murphy, y'all are going to have to decide, but he very well could be your next United States Senator from the great state of Alabama. Appreciate it, Morgan.
Thank you, Joey.
We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. Are you getting ready to put your home up for sale? Remember the 6 Ps. Prepare your home by deep cleaning, painting where needed, yard work, decluttering the inside. Present your home to the market through the experienced realtor who knows how to market the home and get it sold. Price the home at fair market value of what the home should bring in today's market. Your realtor can guide you in pricing the home to sell, not sit. Pay for part of the closing cost and provide a 1-year warranty. Buyers today don't have the down payment and all the cost of buying a home without some help. Prepare to look at offers from the marketplace and accept the best offer for your needs. And 6, place your trust in experienced professionals, including your realtor, closing attorney, and mortgage company. For all the details, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group, 221-2883. And remember, we are now hiring agents, both new and experienced. Call me today for an interview. Bo Goodson, 221-2883.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Kick off 2026 with a money-saving deal at the River Region's top pizza buffet. Pizza Perfect. In January, get $5 off any large pizza. No matter how many toppings, you'll save $5. Pizza Perfect's buffet includes pizza as well as spaghetti, breadsticks, salad, dessert, and drink for only $13. The buffet is available Monday through Saturday for lunch and for dinner on Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday. In January, get $5 off any large pizza at Pizza Perfect, Coliseum Boulevard in Eastbrook, available for carryout and delivery.
This is your roving reporter. Today I'm talking with a prospector. That's right, man. I'm prospecting for gold. You dig? No, but it looks like you do. And you know the first thing I'm going to do when I strike it rich? What's that? I'm going to hire David Ernest to be my money man. You mean everyone's favorite asset preservationist? That is correct, man. I'm going to call him up at 833-596-7233. 833-596-SAFE. You know, I've heard a lot of good things about David Ernest. You know, he's the best money man around with over 40 years of experience. Experience is necessary, especially when you're digging for gold. That's right, man. And I can see that you don't have very much experience. What do you mean, man? Well, you have the little plastic bucket and shovel like a kid would take to the beach. Yeah, man. Well, I want to start out small and kind of pace myself up until I strike it rich. Well, maybe you should call David Ernest first. You think he's got a shovel? Never know till you ask. I dig, man.
Hey, this is Troop with Fairland Jewelers. I've been advertising at Blue Water for going on 3 years now. Since starting advertising at Blue Water, we have seen our business grow exponentially. And if you would like to see your business grow, I suggest advertising at Blue Water Broadcasting.
Radio reaches over 90% of everyone in the River region. Shouldn't your ads be out there where your customers are? Call us to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network, brought to you by Montgomery Paint and Body. From little fender benders to total body repair, MPB will fix it good as new, maybe better. For 4 decades, the Turner family has been getting you back on the road. Call 279-7325.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. If you love Arctic air, you're going to love this forecast. Tonight, partly cloudy, very cold. Overnight low temperature down to about 26 by dawn tomorrow morning. Tuesday's high temperature still well below normal, high 56, down to the upper 20s on Tuesday night. On Wednesday, I think we'll tease 60 degrees, but then another shot of Arctic air, perhaps even colder by Thursday. Thursday's high only in the lower 40s, but the winds will make it seem colder. Stay warm. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Trustworthy, accurate, immediate. Carrying your voice across the river region. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
back. Your host, Joey Clark, Troy Carrico, here in the studio with me. Good seeing Morgan Murphy.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
And I think it's going to be a real competitive race this go around.
Yeah, I think the story just broke at Politico about his donations. I think that's going to send some reverberations, and we'll see how the candidates respond. Jared and Barry and everyone,
And Steve and
Rodney.
Rodney.
Yeah, he's a cattleman.
I kind of like, for everything I've heard about Rodney, I like.
He's very nice. He's very likable.
Yeah.
Very likable. I met him at the governor's mansion at the Republican Christmas party. He was very nice.
Now, how about something completely different?
Oh, the palate cleanser, as you like to call it.
Sure. Now, what is it? Billy Corgan is?
Yes, I love Billy Corgan.
Smashing Pumpkins.
James Yeehaw, their guitarist. I know all of them, man.
Well, and he is
Darcy, the bassist.
And you see him he plays guitar and sings, but I think on one of their big hits, the smash hits by the Smashing Pumpkins, he did all the orchestration.
He's a very talented individual, and he runs his own wrestling federation.
And he is apparently Bill Burr's brother. Did you not see
I did not know that.
Yeah, the same father who was a real piece of work.
Yeah.
And
really?
Yeah, I think Howie Mandel did this reveal. What? Bill Burr was not happy about it. Even having it brought up.
I like Billy Corgan a lot. I don't know. Maybe.
But see how they look alike?
Yeah.
Bill Burr and Billy Corgan. Yeah. But this is
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's
stunned.
That's crazy.
I'm stunned.
Yeah.
I'm stunned. Okay.
And again, you can find the interview. I think it was on Mandel's show, and Bill Burr was pissed. He wasn't necessarily mad at Billy Corgan, but he was just pissed that they did it that way.
Really? Yeah.
Oh, y'all are brothers, aren't you? Right? From the same real piece of work father. Anyway, Billy Corgan recently gave an interview, and he brought up something that made me go, Now, I'm always stuck in classic rock music and just whatever.
He's an incredible guitarist.
I like rock and roll. But, and thank God, as I'm a kid coming up in the 90s and the early aughts, there's still new rock music.
There was a few good bands still there.
And there's still some new rock music being made, but you're not seeing rock and roll on the charts anymore. Like proper rock and roll. You get poppy stuff and alternative stuff that steals from rock sensibilities. Even the hip hop and urban stations, sometimes you'll get trends where you're stealing from rock and roll sensibilities, but it's not the same sort of, that old time rock and roll. Well, here's Billy Corgan making the point of what happened to that? What forces are against it?
I've been told for over 30 years in public life that there's something wrong with me or I'm crazy. And I feel like I'm the guy in the movie who's actually quite sane. Right. Kind of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Right.
And I think there are forces in the world that go out of the way to marginalize or other particular voices, in this case, the artist class, because they refuse to accept sort of the given narrative. And if you look at the history of popular rock music, say over the last 10 years, you'll notice that there's not a lot of edginess actually going on anymore. No. There's a tremendous amount of edginess going on in the rap music community and other communities, but rock is probably the greatest social change force. And of course, I'm including, folk and Bob Dylan and rock in general terms, because it influenced the Byrds and the Beatles and all stuff like that. Right. Rock was the greatest single social changing force of the 20th century. I would dare anybody to argue that.
Right.
Maybe even more so than film.
Totally, yeah.
Right? Because we've talked a lot about film. And here we are 25 years into the 21st century, and rock couldn't be less of an influence on the social political order. Does anybody think that that's kind of strange?
Right.
That somebody decided to push a button somewhere and make sure that people like myself don't say certain things anymore.
Right.
And you got to wonder who are those folks, because I don't think it's like the PMRC, the old school conservatives, but they were also Republicans and Democrats, the Tipper Gore, sort of moralized, moral majority wagging their finger.
Parental advisory.
Because that always existed when rock and roll was
Parental
huge.
Advisory crap. Yeah.
And, I can put myself, the older I get, I'm like, I'm like young
some
son,
stuff you don't need to.
Son, listening to Prince's Dirty Mind.
Agree.
You know what I mean? It's a pretty raunchy album.
Yeah.
Maybe the kid doesn't need to learn about that just yet.
Maybe he knows already from his exposure to it at school and on the internet.
I don't think it's like your traditional conservative types who always like country and never like rock and roll that are the ones silencing or at least taking out all the edge from rock and roll. So it makes you wonder, and I almost somewhat suspect that it was the boomer hippies who talked about the long march of the institutions.
It's always the hippies.
They end up becoming executives, and they suck. It's actually the old school executives who probably were fairly conservative people who allowed for the best, like, kind of liberal music out there. And I mean liberal in a general sense of the term, not just politics. That sort of exuberant, joyous rock and roll that came out of the 60s, 70s, continued for a time into the 80s. You still had that element in the 90s. And yet it's kind of fallen off. And you got to look at, well, who are the powers that be? We just had that conversation with Alan Mendenhall. Yeah, I think there are a lot of folks worried that if you allow like charismatic rock and rollers to undermine your fiefdom, that you have corporate control over everything, and they can destroy that corporate control with one great rock song that breaks through the noise. Yeah, they don't like that. Now, the beautiful thing is other folks have come out and punched back. And I would love to see just like true, free rock and roll artists. I don't care if you're liberal or conservative, whatever. Like, I like people that were just, they're going to say what they truly believe and what they want to say, what they know. Screw the system either way. And it really is sad that, like, you know, Rage Against the Machine and all these types, like, they just became part of the machine. And that's the irony here. It's like they would talk a great game against Republican administrations, but as soon as the Democrats get in, they're like, oh, look, like everything's fine. I'm like, they're the same corporatist. Like, what happened to y'all?
That's why I listen to DIY punk, like Circle Jerks, like Bad Brains, bands like that don't answer to anybody. And in the words of Johnny Rotten,
I like this.
Johnny Rotten said this: "You don't need permission for anything."
No, you never struck me as a hipster, but like you're throwing out bands that you're like, you probably haven't heard of them.
You probably haven't,
right? I know.
This is like bang your head, kind of really rough. The skateboard, like Pennywise. You ever heard of Pennywise? You need to listen to Pennywise.
No, I like this. It's like, but I saw this clip and I'm like, he's so right.
I agree.
Like, what happened?
They're
like,
part of the system.
They'll let you do the pastiche, so you can go listen to all his albums and all the old stuff that came before. But anything new that actually threatens, say, corporate control,
follow the dollar, buddy.
When they consume it too, or they bring it into the fold. Anyway, that caught my attention. And Billy Corgan.
I like Billy Corgan, man.
Good dude. It's a shame that Bill Burr doesn't want to embrace him.
Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness is a really good double album, but the first one, Gish, their Gish album is really, really good.
We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Trust Montgomery's glass experts to provide you with fast and convenient service when and where you need it. Find out how affordable independent glass can be. Free estimates on storefronts, shower doors, furniture tops, plate glass window glass, plexiglass, custom beveled mirrors, residential or commercial services. You come to them or Independent Glass will come to you. Call Independent Glass 263-2823, 263-2823, or stop by 2047 Bell Street near the entrance to Maxwell. Independent Glass.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
All the headlines the mainstream media won't touch. Your News Talk station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Right to the phones and talk to Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing today?
Well, good for the second time today. How about you guys?
Oh, we're all right. Show flew by. Always a good sign.
It did. It did. Hey, I'll tell you what, it's been a good day. I got tickets to the Banana baseball game.
The Banana?
Savannah.
Oh, yeah, Savannah Banana.
Savannah.
The Savannah Banana.
Yes, yes. Every time I talk to Angie, I call them the banana hammocks.
That's funny. Oh, come on, Eddie's not here. Don't talk about that.
I'm so excited. I want to see the banana hammocks. He's like, quit
What
saying that.
Well, and also in Eddie's case, it was more a plantain hammock.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, we got. I actually pulled them for at Savannah.
That's cool, man. That's great.
I gamble at.
That's great.
Never seen them in person. Looking forward to it. I think they're coming to Montgomery pretty soon.
Oh, really?
Nice.
They're entertaining.
They are very entertaining. But now, if you're looking for a floor and you want to be entertained, call 285-8117 and ask for Chad. He will absolutely entertain you.
Again, that number, folks, 285-8117, and y'all still come out and do the free in-home measurement, and it's really just that simple.
We do now. This week, our showroom is going to be in disarray. We're replacing all the floors with the new products that are coming in. I've got a heck of a sale on the new. It's like a vinyl plank, but it's not a vinyl plank. It's a hybrid. It is the hardest floor to scratch, period.
Wow.
Absolutely gorgeous. Normally, we sell it for like $6.25 installed. With this buy I made at the convention, I'm going to be able to install it for $5 a foot.
That's amazing.
That is a really steep discount.
I like that.
And $5 is including your tax.
Oh, wow.
What type of flooring is that called again? If people are interested in it,
it's called PureTech. PureTech.
Okay.
By Mohawk.
Cool.
And it's not a vinyl plank. It has no vinyl in it.
I'll be.
So that's where you get your scratches from on vinyl plank.
Uh-huh.
Completely waterproof, dog-proof. It's the hardest floor out there. So give us a call, 285-8117. We'll come out and give you that free measurement. Next thing you know, you got a floor down.
Just that simple, folks. Appreciate you, Ray.
Hey, have a great
Thanks,
day.
Ray.
272-9228. So did we learn anything today?
There are people right now that are building bombs for the good of our nation. They put the little chips in that know where home is, and beware to the rest of the world that would do us harm. That's what my thoughts are right now after talking with Morgan.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
My thoughts be bloody, in the words of Hamlet. Call for action.
Do you like how I snuck in every dog have
Oh,
his
I
day?
did.
Yeah, you always got to do those little
Me and
winks
you always
and
have our
Easter
little Shakespearean thing there.
No, I forgot to get to this earlier, and we might as
What
well.
is it?
This is Trump on Air Force One. Now, there was one moment on Air Force One, if I pull it up on the screen here, where he's standing, the turbulence got really crazy. He's like, I'm going to blame y'all. I'm looking for something to grab onto.
He's sick. Everybody look, he's sick.
Like, I'm looking for something to grab onto. I'm going to blame y'all for putting me in this position right here on the plane. He goes, I'm looking for, and I'm not going to grab Caroline. She started smirking ear to ear. But this is Trump being asked a question, I believe, by CNN about Iran.
Okay.
Let's listen in.
Don't you think so, CNN? Don't you think so? Wouldn't you say that they probably do at this point?
The question was, do you think the Iranians take you seriously?
I heard it.
After going through it for years with me, being hit, Soleimani, al-Baghdadi, the Iran nuclear threat wiped out, don't you think, and then you just had Venezuela, don't you think, she says, CNN, do you think they take your threat seriously? Wouldn't you say they do after all of the things we've done?
Wouldn't you
what
say?
A stupid question.
Shut up, silly woman.
Yeah, that was quite a smackdown.
That's great.
Right there. Yeah, so Trump seems to be in very, very good spirits. Very good spirits indeed.
What's on your thoughts before we end the day? What have you learned today?
That we're going to have quite a competitive Senate race.
Oh, that's true.
And,
that's obvious.
I like that. It's very clear with that fundraising hole Morgan Murphy's campaign pulled in. I learned that it's good to have a job.
It is good. It's great to be gainfully employed.
Yeah, it's good to be here in the talk radio
This is
business.
so good. Listen, you know what? This is probably the best Monday I've had with you in a while because you're in a pretty good mood, even though I overserved you whiskey on Friday.
Yeah, probably.
But other than that,
right,
you're in a good mood today. This makes me happy, Joey.
Yeah, it was the mistake of when you're just sitting down for a long time. You think you're fine? Yeah.
You needed some of those candied jalapenos, right?
Right. Once you stand up and move to a different seat, you're like,
I'll be back.
But I survived.
All right, man.
I definitely survived. Oh, we didn't get to the new evidence that liberal women are bat crap crazy.
Oh boy.
Well, really, it's indictable.
It's an ongoing.
It just is what it is at this point. But it's, I don't know. And it's also like the whole idea of, honey, I'm having trouble in my life. Maybe a threesome will save our marriage. Honey, I'm having trouble in our life. Maybe if I become a lesbian, everything will be hunky-dory.
They're always going gay, I'm telling you why. Then they come back and it's too late. There's two types of crazy. I had a drill sergeant, the same one that told me about the dog, said to me, there's two types of crazy. He called it bat poo crazy, and then there's Indian spitting cobra crazy. So be careful which one you get.
Yeah, you do need to be careful with that. Hello, Pamela. How are you?
Hey, Pam.
Hi.
Yeah,
Good. Nobody calls me Pam.
Pamela, what would you like me to refer to you as? And Pamela?
Yes, my given name.
How about Her Highness or
No.
She Who Must Be Obeyed?
That's not a bad one.
That's what I thought. I figured I could ply you with some flattery.
Must be obeyed.
You look. I like your hair. I like your hair up. I like that.
I didn't wash it today.
Well,
So.
you look very spiffy today.
Well, after that nickname, I guess we've covered all the topics from the top to the bottom. We'll be back tomorrow. Happy Hour with Greg Budell and Pamela. They're next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew.